It's happening. Listen, before this episode starts, we just thought we'd make a little clip to let you know that anyone who doesn't know, we now have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/another one podcast. And there's like a few different tiers on there. And we can go and get where you can sign up to us. And it helps us make this podcast. Helps us pay for the podcast. Helps us make it better. Helps us improve and put more content out. We've got big plans for things we want to do. Haven't we? Since
yes, we have. We've got big plans. We have got big plans.
Yes, Rob. Yes.
No, we have got big plans, and without anyone signing to the Patreon, this will die.
Yeah.
This will go away eventually, because if we can't make it work financially, we can't keep doing it, can we?
No, we can't just keep throwing fucking...
No, and we've got Aftermill to buy, and that fucking costs
We've got kids to pay for. Yeah. Listen, I'll be honest, if I can't provide, I'll leave.
Yeah.
So...
And we already know.
You don't want to make an orphan.
We already know how it's going, don't we? So we needed to be giving us something back.
Yeah, please.
Because we're bleeding here.
My kids are begging. My kids begging.
So sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/another one podcast.
That's it. There's 3 different tiers, loads of different prices.
Pick one.
Help
sign
us.
Up. You won't even notice it going out your bank. It's a couple of quid.
Less than a Tesco meal deal. Or, well, maybe more than a Tesco meal deal.
You'd buy a starving man a meal deal, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I'm starving. That's what we are. Look at me.
Look at him. Do you think that? Do you think this?
Help.
Another one.
It's happening.
Hi everyone, welcome to a special edition of Another One podcast.
It is a special edition. The first time we've not had a comic on at all.
With me, Simon Wozniak, Rob Thomas, and 2 war veterans.
Just
I'm going to say you're more of a veteran than Dave, to be honest with you, Mike. I've never met either of these two, so I'm terrified. But so we got...
Give a bit of backstory.
Okay.
I'm older.
Well, Mike...
Simon's not met anyone.
No.
Right.
I know Mike and Dave from doing a comedy course. As everyone knows, on the list spot, I do courses at the Comedy Trust. We've done Depressed Dads, and then we've done military vets.
Are we full name and introduce?
I don't
know the full. So Mike, do you want to give your full name?
No, hang on a minute. Ask Rob.
Okay, go on then.
Mike Bastian.
No, that was funny. That actually. Did you mean that one?
Yeah. So we got Mike Bastian and Dave.
Go on, Mike. What's your real name? I know it's masturbation. So is it Mike Bateson?
Bateson.
Bateson. That's it. Yeah.
Mike Bateson.
When he introduced me, that's why. When he introduced me on the night, he forgot my surname.
Yeah.
Right.
Because every time you tell me, you go, it's masturbation. Yeah. You expect me to remember it then? Because you won't just tell me your name.
And then Dave
Curtis.
Nice
easy one.
Easy one. There we go.
So, tell us, you start first, Mike, your background into how you got in the army and stuff first.
Right, well, do you want to start from the...
Because we'll start right. I know these two from obviously, I know Mike and Dave from doing a comedy course with veterans, and I found both your stories really good, but also I found doing the veteran course was dead good for me, because I was always dead ignorant to
and I am still ignorant.
just stuff like, because I was always, I'm quite of a not quite lefty and all that, but I was always dead ignorant, you've been to war, and what? I was like that kind of person. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Even though I've got best mates who's Marine, who's done 3 tours, and I've never spoke to him about it. And I come away from that course that we were doing going why? He's one of my best mates, and I've never spoke to him about why. Because I really loved our course that we done. I had a great time. And one of the things I got from it, because when you do these courses, you don't really get much from them as a stand-up. It's just teaching people to go on stage and do that. With the course we done, I got loads from it, because I walked away going, why have I never had that chat? Why has one of my best mates done something that I can't even think, not I can't even think about, but I've got no idea what it's like. What? Close a gig, fuck off. But I've got no idea what it's like, and I've never even had the chat of what was it like over there, or how'd you feel, or what's all of that sort of thing. So that's why I wanted to just come on, because if I've not done it, then there's probably loads out there who've not done it.
We'll give him 18 months and he could.
That's a running joke on the pod. I can do anything with 18 months. 18 months, I can be master anything at 18 months. If someone else can do it, I can do it.
But the thing
is that bollocks, Mike? Can he not do it in 18 months?
You can do anything in 18 months.
Yeah, well, Mike.
Fucking pussy, Fucking pussy, Mike. Come on. I expected more.
Yeah, because I felt like if I'm that ignorant, there's loads out there who are that ignorant. But
I think one thing from me doing my job and stuff like that men don't talk.
Yeah.
Men do not. They obviously talk and they chat,
Talk too much on this, to be honest. We're sick of chatting.
Yeah, I mean, we're 5 minutes in, and we got Mike was meant to tell us his story, but somehow, it ended up about him not being able to talk about it.
But
This is not the podcast for men not talking. He never shuts up about anything about himself.
but that little thing of just saying, "How are you, mate?"
Yeah.
People don't ask that question. People do not ask that question, and loads of people who are listening and watching will know that's them as well. And
Yeah.
all it takes for you to ask your mate. Go and ask him now. Go on. No, but all it takes is for you to ask your mate, "How are you?"
Yeah.
Or
Ask twice.
That's twice.
ask twice. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, ask twice.
How are you?
You done your training, have you?
Done it all, mate.
Is right. Is right.
Done it all. So go on, mate. What's your story then? Because I've no idea.
Give me an age, like.
So when did you join the army?
The moment I came out into the world.
No.
What made you want
no.
to? What made you want to join the army? What's your background like as a kid growing up?
Background. So I came obviously from an estate in Lancaster. Brought up broken family.
Yeah.
Usual default northern thing, I guess.
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues, yeah.
Standard.
I had to bite my tongue. There's stuff coming in my head.
Let's leave Hank. Stay there.
Right.
So brought up the broken family. It weren't easy.
Do you anything in school? Was you asked about school at all?
In school, I was rubbish in school.
Yeah.
I got diagnosed ADHD later on in life, which kind of makes sense why I hated school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
we've got a rule on this podcast: don't get diagnosed with anything.
Oh no diagnosis.
Yeah, no diagnosis.
I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD. And,
no, you're fine.
I'm
we
all right.
just don't want to. We just don't want to.
I'm an odd bloke, Mike. That's what I am. I'm a funny bloke, a little bit odd. Leave him to it.
I like that.
So,
but yeah. So anyway, sorry.
So you say broken family. How was your relationship with your parents? Or
Sound like I don't see them as often because they're in Lancaster. But I still keep in touch and that and speak to them. See them here and there. It's nothing.
So was anyone else in the army or anything in your family that made you want to do it, or what?
Not particularly. Like my granddad was in the Merchant Navy, and then my other granddad, my dad's dad, was in the what's it called? Boys service. What's it called when they get drafted in 50s? What was that?
National service.
Right.
Sorry, I had a blank. Yeah, national service. So he did that. But I just always wanted to do it. I just loved tanks.
Right, okay.
I loved tanks. And
But like big fellas or the actual ones?
I think they're called bears, Rob.
Only when you open your mind.
Yeah, you can tell his dad was in the Navy, can't you? Just want to be around all these bears.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, go on.
So yeah, I just wanted to go on tanks, and so.
So what age did you start thinking about it?
I signed on the dotted line when I was 15 and 8 months.
It's young, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is young.
Yeah.
Did you sign up as early or when?
No, I was 21. I was a late joiner, me.
Is that considered late in the army?
Yeah, 21. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Because
So-
you got, as Mike said there, 15 and 8 months. There was people
15, man.
signing on the dotted line as early as that, and then they go through I don't know.
So did you sign for the army before you shagged a bird?
Yes.
Wow. You'd signed
In a nutshell, yeah.
You signed up to get shot before you'd fire the load yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, anyways, I could go. So I was thinking about, I've done other things. I've been to first base.
Yeah. You don't have to prove yourself. What I'm trying to do is justify at what point in your life, at your maturity sort of level, to be signed up to the army.
What did your parents
'Cause I know what
think
I
of
was
that?
like at 15.
Well, my mum, she was like, didn't really want me to, but she knew that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, even in school, I'd be like, nah, I'm going in the army.
Was you one of them weird kids who always dressed in camo gear?
No. No. I mean, no. I used to play like I did, just kind of didn't go around like sort of stabbing people and that, That was later on in life.
Yeah. That was just to
as
get
it
by.
goes,
So you joined at 15, and then
So what happens when you sign up at 15? You don't go at 15?
No, you
do
don't go then. So you do your GCSEs, as it were. Then you.
So did you sign up a career day or just walk in and go?
I just walked in and said that I want to join the army and I want to go on tanks, and that was it.
That was literally.
Yeah, and you could do like an
Were
entrance
they made
test.
up with that? Because it's someone's role in it to try and encourage people to join the army.
Yeah, they have army careers and stuff. Well,
In the job
Army,
centre.
Navy, and RAF careers and stuff like that. The job centre.
Centre.
We had the careers office. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Did you go down to the careers office? Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, same with
You
me.
do
yeah.
that test, like you do an
barb
entrance
test
your
as
barb
well,
test,
yeah.
So you do an entrance test, like
When did you do
John,
that then?
If
when
Mike's bigger than Rob, who's smaller?
who's smaller?
That's the.
Is that
that's the
literally
test,
just
yeah,
faster than Phil? who's slower?
But it'll
Yeah.
like it'll say the question on one screen and then goes the answers
Yeah.
on the next
That's
screen.
it.
Like
Yeah.
obviously-
Right.
And I basically I got 3 options: infantry, tanks, or artillery. Basically, that's just the crayon eaters of the world. So
Right.
get them
The
3
ones I
options.
just-
Yeah, brainy people get other
Yeah.
options.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was that.
So I just feel like that's the problem I have with joining. That is, just feel like you're being sent off. Like they don't care, do they?
I don't know. Like,
Did you ever feel like that?
What, in the army they don't
Like you
care,
know
or-
that the ones that it's never like the rich ones that are going in at that level. Sometimes
they go in as officers, don't they?
yeah, that's what I
The
mean.
ones,
They're
yeah,
not
yeah.
there going to be like sent off onto the.
Yeah, I think
Mike, just keep your mic a bit close to your mouth if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Yeah, I'll just twist it.
Just you can move it, you know. You don't have to, you have to move yourself.
There you go. It's sound, yeah. See, I'm always
Can you
doing
move
this.
my
You
mic for
can,
me,
you, can always,
please?
you can always do all that shit. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. What was I saying? I forgot.
No, he was going on about
officers,
class, the
Yeah,
class divide in the
Yeah,
army.
there is. I suppose as well. I went in the cavalry, so the cavalry.
What's the cavalry?
Cavalry's like they call it the donkey.
Because that's one
walkers.
thing you do that alienates people. So it's your fault that I'm ignorant.
Was Harry
Is,
in the cavalry?
you use army
Harry?
terms that no one knows
well,
about.
Harry cavalry?
Yeah, so he was household cavalry,
Household
but I
cavalry,
was
yeah.
King's Royal Hussars, which is another cavalry regiment. Traditionally, they
okay.
were the horses.
Who's
Right.
So
Harry?
the cavalry, you know. That's it.
Who's Harry?
Prince Harry.
Oh right.
Well, not
Yeah,
not a prince.
not
A prince.
princey anymore.
Yeah,
Harry.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
American Harry, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's a legend anyway.
he's all right, isn't he?
Yeah, absolute legend.
But yeah, so yeah, that's it. So they're sending the cavalry.
Right.
Don't know where that came
So you finish your GCSEs and then you
Hold
go
on.
off, do you, or something?
I want to ask about when you signed up. You know, when you signed up at 15 years and 8 months, is there any get out then?
Yeah, there's get out all the way through. So
Is
you
there?
don't just sign up and that's you.
Like,
for-
what is the
for life.
contract sort of thing? Like,
So I don't know if it's different for Mike because
Literally,
obviously
yeah, John.
he's a little bit older than me. So he joined earlier than me. But like for me, we signed up for 22 years. So
Right.
so when you sign a dotted line, it's for 22 years. And what happens then is you can come out after every 4 years
right.
if you want to.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Like a president.
yeah, like a president, yeah. You have to get voted out.
I was so when did them 4
Posted
years
off the
start?
front line.
Because you can leave training, can't you, and stuff.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
bow-
Oh, yeah. You can
You
leave
can bow out to training and go, "This isn't for me."
So there's a time within your basic training where then that starts. I
Yeah.
can't remember exactly what week it is or whatever, but after a certain week, that's you.
That's you're
I
now
think it's when you
4
get your
years.
ID card, is it?
Do like your week 5 drill test, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Week 5 drill test, and then you get your first
And then
weekend leave.
that's your 4
So
years
you
now.
record. That's when I got
You're
laid.
ours now. So what was it like for you to sign up at 21 then?
It sounds, yeah. I was I'd done like the cadets and stuff when I was younger.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
where
but is
the-
that any real link to the army though? Or
Just
not?
let-
It's not a real link to the army, but it's getting you that sort of like before I joined the cadets, I was like there was a few of my mates who were already in it. It was like by the where the Asda is in Bootle now.
Yeah.
That's where the TA centre was, and that's where the
Right,
cadets
yeah.
was there. It's by next door to the Jaro now, and just seeing like people walking around in the uniform and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I like a bit of that.
Yeah.
And you go away every weekend, and I think as well, like I say broken home. It was a bit crap growing up and stuff like that
Yeah.
for me. So I think it was that thing of joining that, and I was getting away from the stuff that was happening at home as
Yeah.
well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then from the cadets, I joined the TA. So the TA
Yeah.
is like now it's called Army Reserve. So you can sort of do all the military stuff that you love doing, getting all your qualifications.
How
and
much
stuff
you
like
actually
that.
do as a TA? Like,
Yeah,
'cause that's one of the things I know
Loads,
about that
yeah.
I don't really know about. You get what I mean? It's like,
Minimum, like I think you got to do a minimum, aren't you? Like sort of 21 days a year or something crazy, aren't you? I
Yeah,
don't
and
know
you get it,
actually, but
yeah, but how
bonus- you
trained
get a
are you
bonus.
though? As a,
trained, yeah, fully
fully trained,
yeah.
as in TA.
Yeah, no, yeah. So like all these people are,
I
they
always
have
thought it was,
full-time-
I always thought it was like, you ever watch The Office? Like,
yeah.
I always thought it was people like that. I didn't know, like,
No, full
I know
on,
you mean.
yeah,
Gareth, innit? Is it Gareth?
yeah.
fully trained and people who are in. So it's not the TA anymore. It's called the Army Reserve, but then people can get sent to places like Afghanistan, Iraq. You know, they can go anywhere that's needed. To fully
like on the drop of a hat. Sort of.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You know, obviously after like with the TA at the time, it was called like getting immobilised.
Yeah.
So you become immobilised, and then you do all sorts of your pre-deployment training.
Yeah.
And then you would go down, and then you would go off to wherever you were going.
Why would someone join the TA then?
I think it's that sort of, I suppose, hobby. You know, if you want to be in the military, but you don't want to sort of, you know, move away from home. So you can still have a full-time job, and you can still do that of a weekend.
Yeah.
So people will come out of the forces and join the TA because they still want to be around it, but they don't like living away anymore. They want to be living, you know, where
want to be grounded somewhere.
Yeah, they want to be grounded somewhere. Yeah, because when you're in the military, I don't know what it was like for you, Mike, but like I didn't move around, and I suppose we'll get into a little bit more of my story. I didn't move around as much as other people, but there's people every 3 years up and they're off. You know, when I was in, it was obviously Germany was massive. I don't know yourself, it was huge, wasn't it? So people are over there, people are living in islands, people are living, you know, all over the country.
So what age was you in the TA? Like 16, 17 or?
No, I was 18.
Right.
And then I'd done that, and I had loads and loads of different jobs before it. And then it was just sort of, right,
the only constants have got to this. Sort of thing.
Yeah, and then it was just like, right, I want to do it. So I ended up joining up.
Is it anything like Bad Lads Army in the army?
Basic a little bit, innit?
Basic a little bit,
but not as like, I mean,
I was logistics, me, so I'm like third line, where Mike was joining the infantry, which was sort of...
Well, the cavalry, actually.
Okay.
You see your bullet, try and edit it away.
Check my teeth, you know.
So was
you know,
you
say screaming at you and like make your bed. Did it?
Yeah.
On my first inspection, so I was in a 12-man room, and it was like sort of, it was 4 beds in each sort of bay, if you like.
Yeah.
And this sergeant, can't always remember him, Sergeant Hobbs, his name was, he a para sergeant.
Yeah.
And he was just this like little fella, stocky as anything, just angry man.
Where's he from?
I can't even remember where he's from, but you know that little man syndrome.
Yeah.
But he was just an animal.
Right.
As soon as you walked into the room, you're like, oh my God. And we'd been working all night on our kit, you know, it was all irons. You had to like have it all up, and you're like, I was taught about it a little bit, and it's exactly like that. And on our first one, he come into my bay, and there was this lad who was next to me. I can't even remember his name. Next to me, and he just got all the stuff, and he just opened the window, and he just started launching all the stuff out the window. And and as soon as he'd lashed it all out, he's like, "Go and get it." So we had to go down and get it and put it all back in his locker, and we were just standing there going, "Oh my God."
What is the psychology behind that? Did you ever find out?
No.
I think that
it's all about breaking you down to build you back up.
Breaking down to because how I've seen it. I've seen it on this YouTube video actually. I know, yeah. Got it off a meme.
That's what we all get on news now anyway.
6 words, you extrapolate that for an hour.
Exactly what I'm on about. But they reckon that you train to be on standby. So basically, you've got everybody's like, we're all like that, and then we're on fight or flight, and everyone's on that middle plane.
Yeah.
You can go either way very quickly. Whereas the military, you sort of train to do this, go this way. This is how you turn this way. This is how you do it that way. And then they all train you to a point so you're on standby just before fight.
Yeah.
Just before fight.
I had this trouble trying
Got a bit of sass as the old mic, hasn't he?
Trying to train for the stand-up. I had this. The mic's over here. He's trying to talk.
So you're on standby all the time. That's it. Nothing else. Standby. So then when you go home, you're still on standby. Yeah. So you can just go on any little
that
thing
makes sense now to deal with it. It goes, oh, this is shit.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you know, you're saying that fella comes in, throws all. And what stage is that? Like how early on is that?
That's like week one. But then, that's week one.
Is there never a case of, because like you said, you're from Bootle by mine, you're from like rough areas. There's never kids there who've gone, I'm like, just knock them out.
Yeah. No, not
someone done that to me. Do you know what I mean?
People in there who've just got. There was people in there who just like, no, I'm not having this. See you later, and you won't get through basic. And they're the ones that won't get through basic training. And I remember that there was this. I don't know, sergeant or corporal or whatever, and he was screaming in this lad's face, and this lad just started laughing his head off at him, and he's going, "What are you laughing at?" He's going, "If I don't laugh, I'll cry." But that's the thing, like, you're on edge constantly, like all through basic training, you're on edge constantly. Like even just like there's corporal, and if you're in the military and you're watching this, you'll know straight away. Like you could just be having a ciggy at the smoking area, and if a corporal walk past, it's like brace up. So you're all so you're just on anytime you see someone, you're like brace up, and you're all standing to attention at the tree, and you'll just go carry on, and then you're like that, start having your ciggy again. But it's all about breaking you down to build you back up into being, because you are in basic training. Yeah, but I had a weapon with a bayonet on the end, stabbing a sandbag, shouting kill. What
makes the grass grow green?
Yeah. So it's like, have you seen Full Metal Jacket, the film?
No, I know the reference, but yeah.
You've not seen Full Metal Jacket?
Yeah, you got to realise you're military and we're not, so...
No, these are some of the best films, but Full Metal Jacket...
Seen Love Actually.
Keeping it with the Christmas theme.
I haven't really seen it, I haven't seen Love Actually either.
No, but... So,
I've been watching a lot on the Einsatzgruppen now, so I know all about that.
No, but so if you see that, like, the assault course, don't you? So you see like on this film, you see like the ups and downs, like this big lad trying to get over this assault course, and he's proper screaming at him, and then you've got like one of his mates or one of his oppos is trying to like help him and get him through it and stuff like that. But it's just like it's a bit of cat and mouse, isn't it? It's like exactly. Yeah. It's like a roller coaster.
I think it does make sense the way they treat you like that, though. Like, because if you go into war and you're on the foot, that is where things are going to go to shit. You're going to see everything go on like this is awful. So someone throwing all your shit out the window that you've done all nicely all night. Exactly, it's like that. I really tried for that, and then someone's just come and devastated it. Exactly. It's like, well, that's what you're going to be prepared for. So it does make sense that they treat them like shit in it. Because when you're watching Bad Lads, you're looking at it thinking like, fuck that. Like, that's why I'm not in the army, because I'd be like, fuck this.
But it's turned a bit. Well, when I was in,
different now.
They can't get right in your face like that now, or they can't like touch you without saying beforehand, "I'm going to touch you." So if it's like you're on an inspection and you've got a bit of fluff on your you've got a bit of fluff on you or whatever.
Me too, in the army.
Or you've got your weapon on your arm and they're checking down the chamber or whatever to make sure
Some
it's safe.
people are quite well endowed.
Yeah. I didn't consent you to shoot me in the head.
They used to like smack the weapon, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. It's like, because you can be classed as assault and stuff like that. So,
is there any difference in training? So when you said you went to sign up and you were told, right, cavalry, you're thick as fuck, front line, one of the front lines. Yeah. Because you were done the TA, when did you get put to logistics? So that when did you get given? When are you told you're not going to be the same as him? Like when
so
does
on
that
the barb when
barb test.
This is normally the way when you go into the careers office. Whoever speaks to you is normally what you're going to join.
Is that what it is? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah. Because like, you can come and be a pet op. This is a dying trade in the Royal Logistic Corps. Come and be a pet op. You can get all your licenses, and then you can go and build these big fuel installations and stuff like that. And it sounded amazing. The lad was a pet op behind like the counter, this RLC pet op. And then you'd have to do your barb test and stuff, and it's like you're just praying that, because like for me as well, I was always thinking,
what is the barb? What does that stand for? Something?
No idea.
I can't remember what it stands for.
Barb wire test.
Barb wire test. Yeah.
Right. Sorry.
So this is the bar, and then you get, as Mike said, you get all these options. So like for me, it was infantry was an option. No, the engineers wasn't. That was too much. That was too good for me.
So the barb test basically defines what you can then choose.
Yeah, and then RLC was on it, and then it was just like, right, I'm going to join the RLC.
Physical.
No, it's on a computer.
But you do.
Oh, you do your
selection course in Scotland, Northerners usually, and then you do like loads of mad. You got like 4 pull-ups, and you pull up this. You used to pull this chain up, didn't you?
20 kilogram jerry cans.
Run a mile and a half in under 10.5 minutes and stuff. Yeah.
You join. You join. Are you sort of gambling going, I fucking hope we don't go to war with any cunt?
I wanted to.
It depends what.
You'd be going like, I can get a decent little wage here if we just stay quiet for 20 years. then I'm out.
We've never stayed quiet. That's the problem. Well, when you was there any active wars going on when you joined? Because like you were 21, you're similar to me now, aren't you?
2007.
So I imagine
Iraq, Afghanistan.
Is that, what about you, Mike?
Northern Ireland was in Bosnia, and then
Yeah.
Kosovo kicked off in '99, where I went, and I was a younger soldier in there. I was 17 when we first went over the border in '99.
It's mad now because you can't go to an active war zone until you're 18.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's changed again. But
I don't know. That was
How old was you in Kosovo?
17. I was a younger soldier in NATO.
So, just because I've heard...
First lad's holiday, then.
I've heard that some people on the... Like 80% of people on the front line sometimes shoot over the head of people because they might not want to actually kill them. How true is that?
You can't.
Have you killed a man?
You're
going in 25 minutes. Let's get there.
Right. Say that. Stand by.
Yeah.
You're not trained. You're trained to aim for the centre of
the body mass. It's
in
the heart. That's it. That's where you're aiming. So it's everything. Like when you get a contact, you get shot at. You just click into action. Everyone does the thing.
It's funny this.
I was never in a firefight.
Simon wants to know everything that he's been told about war, and I'm trying to guide a little narrative. I'm just trying to guide a little narrative through to get us to these things.
Well, we tried to ask Mike why he got into it, and then you ended up talking about yourself for 10 minutes.
I'm more interested than Mike. That's why.
You are not. You are not. The front line of Delta taxis. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I once had someone leg it from the big Asda. Oh, tell us more.
I was chasing my man and a half with £20 in my pocket. £20 worth of coins.
So what is it like on the front line?
Well, I mean, for me, like I didn't go to the sand. So
does that not count then?
Well, probably not. To a lot of people, probably not. But I was on the first Kosovo, so that counts for sure. And I did 2 tours in Northern Ireland, and then fate just wouldn't let me go to the sand. Don't get me wrong, I fucking
let me
tried.
go to the sand.
I really tried
Desperate
to go
for the
to
beach.
I volunteered for it and everything, but I just got either sent on a course or it just didn't happen.
When did you leave?
First time. Did 2 stints.
We'll go back to that. Right, so you're saying, you're coming out saying, so will you gone RLC, Royal Logistics course, is that?
Royal Logistic Corps, yeah.
And you've gone cavalry.
And then the second time,
so
went different.
Hold on. You're wasting him. So you do the same basic training. When do you then become, right, you're going to that, you're going to do that, and you're going to do that?
Well,
so
you've already
separate, like you're in school sort of thing, when do you leave go and do further maths, and when do you leave to go and do remedial maths sort of thing?
That's all done. Did you do remedial?
What do you mean?
Did you do remedial PT?
No.
That's what I mean.
I was quite fit.
Do you have
believe it or not.
Do you have 8 weeks of like basic training and then move on to something different?
12 weeks basic.
I done 14.
So everyone will be together.
Well, you
then
do 2 weeks AFS or something, though, so it probably is 14. We did, in fact, you might be right, 2 weeks of this AFS that they were trialling in '98. I don't know, it was just shy.
Yeah.
And then you go.
I was only 12, Mike, I
weeks
don't know.
basic, and then you have a weekend off, I think, or a week off. Then you go to phase 2.
Phase 2.
So is phase 2 where you become what kind of soldier you're going to become?
So phase 2 is like, for me, phase 2 was my trade training. So I went from Royston, which is Cambridge near Stevenage and all that.
Yeah.
So I went from there to a place called Aldershot, or as some people call it, Aldershit. Yeah, because it's an absolute bin. So I
Shouts
went
out all Aldershot listeners.
So I went there for a little.
Have you gigged there?
Probably, yeah.
No, sorry, so I went from there, to Deep Cut. Which is like the sort of HQRLC type thing.
Yeah.
So I went there for a bit, and then we were just doing like all this just remedial training, just continuation training. So on the ranges, PT, all stuff like that. And then from there, I went off to do courses then. So from there, I went off to do my driver training. So I went and done my truck. I'd done my car license when I was in Deep Cut. So I had some lessons in the afternoon on a Tuesday, done my test on a Wednesday morning.
So you got a driver license in the army?
Yeah, and then I went off to do all my truck licenses, so my class 2, class 1. Up in a place called Leconfield in Yorkshire, and then back there and then I went to Aldershot then for a bit.
Right, and what did you do, Mike? Then once you finish your basic, because you're front, you just fuck off.
Fuck off and eat crayons again.
Yeah.
So no, so you basically your basic training's where you learn your infantry skills.
Yeah.
That's like your basic soldiering.
Yeah.
How to wash your balls in the field and stuff like that.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Shave them.
Bowls or balls?
Balls. Sorry, balls.
Or testicles?
Yeah, how to wash your balls
okay.
and stuff. They even show
Is
you,
the-
like,
yeah,
they
there's
used to
a-
get you in the shower, like, not get you in the shower. But used to get you in the
Did you
shower.
go to the army?
Yeah. Get you in the shower and, like, literally they show you how to clean your parts.
How'd you do that?
We'll just pull it back and clean it.
Oh,
Show you
right,
how to
okay.
do it. Like, because for me, like, I'd come from like, my dad. I saw him at weekends. I didn't really get taught how to do
Well,
stuff.
we discussed this on a
You know.
podcast with
Yeah.
Alan and Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
does
no,
any-
you don't get taught
Does
that.
anyone ever tell you how to clean your cock? I think
No.
mine, I don't know if my dad did me a disservice by not telling me how to clean his cock, but does anyone ever
No,
tell
I
you,
never knew how to
pull
clean
it
my
back, give it a
cock.
wash?
You know, so now I know how to clean my cock, which is
Yeah.
always very
Well done.
useful. Thank you. But yeah,
Do an 8-week course on it with him.
No, 18 months you'll have it.
Accommodating pot cleaning. 60 quid a session. Don't know talking to that one.
He used to make me shave, and I didn't. I was like 16. I had nothing. It was like,
Yeah.
like basically shaving over my spots. You know?
Right.
It was
Oh.
just like it was horrendous. But
This,
anyway,
this is how you've got the... So,
anyway,
that's how
sorry,
you've
yeah,
got to
sorry,
shave.
Yeah, you go. So I went to Winchester for my basic training,
Yeah.
and then I go to Bovington to learn tanks.
Right.
It's like-
Oh,
and
did you
then-
go to Bovington?
Yeah, Bovey, yeah.
Right.
So that's where I did all my tank training. And
There's
car-
a Bosch
car
tank
license.
museum down in Bovington. Get
Stuff
down
like
there.
that. Yeah.
It's next door to the. Have you seen that program, Monkey Business?
I've heard of it, I don't know if I've seen it.
You haven't seen anything, have you?
Well, yeah,
Full
because
Metal Jacket.
we are the
entertainers.
Monkey Business.
We are, we,
Nothing
we
at all.
are the entertainers, Dave, that's right. While you're looking for entertainment, that's where
So
we
it's
are.
right next door anyway. It's down here
Right.
near Weymouth, isn't it?
Yeah,
Weymouth,
near
down
Weymouth,
there, yeah.
So you used to drive tanks?
Yeah, Challenger battle tanks. Yeah,
What?
72 tons battle weight, full battle weight.
And have you blown anything up in the tanks?
I've blown things up in tanks. Yeah, when I was a gunner, you start as a driver, you go to a gunner, then you become an operator, you load the gun, and then you become the tank commander. But I was
So
like,
there's 4 men in the tank.
4 men. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, basic training, you've come out RLC, you learn to do your tanks, and then is it literally signed up to go on tour, or is it like,
Yeah.
right now, you're ready, we'll give you a shout?
It just
or what?
depends because you'd have different. So you'd have different sort of
Training cycles. You have training cycles.
training cycles, regiment.
What's
What's
Well, you basically do 18 months training,
Yeah.
and you have all certain exercises where you build up. Then you go to like Canada or wherever. Then you do a confirmation exercise,
What are you going to Canada for?
because that's where, like, for on the tanks, that's where you can fire all your tanks on the move, and it's a
Right.
massive training area. Medicine at
Like a firing range for tanks?
everything, infantry, so basically the whole battle group will go to Canada, and
Yeah.
then you'll train to become like the lead armor battle group for us. So once you become lead armor battle group, anything that kicks off in the world, you'll be the first to go. At
Right.
that time, once you've done your 18 months training, confirmation exercise, right, your lead armor battle group is waiting then. And then it'll start getting this, you'll have a bit of R&R, you'll go and leave, then you'll start the cycle again, and then you go again.
Right.
Yeah, so for me, it was. I was a part of 101 Brigade.
Yeah.
So 101 Brigade were going. I can't even remember who the main heads were for that. But I was a part of 101. So when I got to my unit
Yeah.
from phase 2, so I was told, right, you're going to 10 Reg. So I went to
Yeah.
10 QOGLR, which is like the Gurkha regiment for the logistics.
Yeah.
So absolute animals, but will die for you. Just amazing people. And then pretty much straight away we were on the Orbat for Afghanistan. So an Orbat's just like a list. So
Right.
I just went into this corridor and seeing where I was going.
So who are these amazing people that'll
The Gurkhas.
right?
So
Yeah,
they're from Nepal.
and they're just absolute psychos.
They're
Do you know
absolute
who the
psychos.
Gurkhas are? Do you know who the Gurkhas
Yeah,
are?
the one from Absolutely Fabulous sorted out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joanna Lumley.
She
She boxed
supported
them.
them.
Yeah, she saw
Right.
So what? Her dad served with the Gurkhas, didn't he? So you got Gurkha Rifles, Gurkha Engineers, then Gurkha Logistics.
And I think the Gurkha officers are like British, aren't they? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
white, they're not white British, but
Yeah.
British officers, as it were.
What do they get? What special training do they get to be such hard cases? Like they're the hard cases, they hard cases, aren't they?
So yeah, so they do all their training in Nepal. So like it's like
Massive
their
honour,
life
isn't
to
Yeah.
be in the British Army. Like
Right.
that's their thing. So they'll do.
They're like bred to be in the.
If I have a search it on YouTube, like you know, like does. Search it on YouTube.
Imagine if these two just blanked that they've been to war for you. It's all on YouTube. We got on the course.
What Sean Bean told me in a meme was.
Yeah. But the gig, they're just, and they're so gentle, but will absolutely run to the end of the earth for you.
So you said you're on a list, and you would basically.
I didn't
you didn't
see
say you didn't see a list.
I didn't see no lists.
Did you get any prep, or you just like
you do all your op tag? Yeah.
What's op tag?
Operational training. So you go down to places like
Lidenide.
What Lidenide? Bloody hell, yeah, Lidenide, which is all the ranges.
Yeah.
So you'll go down and get trained up on all the weapons you're potentially going to use while you're over there.
Right. What about like? This is going to sound daft as fuck. But like, you're gonna be in sand. Did he take you to like
I was
train in Spain or anything like that, or like get used to sort of the heat or some sort of sand?
Part of Benidorm, yeah. And the accommodation was the Solana.
Yeah.
No, so so a part of my regiment were going to Helmand. So Helmand's where it's sandy weather. Ross Kemp in Afghanistan. But so Helmand, so all the sand. So they went off to Kenya. And done a lot of what did they call it?
Terrain training.
Yeah, like climate training type thing.
It's horrendous.
And then I was going, where Kenya?
Oh, I hated it.
See, I didn't go to Kenya because I was going to.
What do you mean? What like?
Oh, you've got to take your malaria tablets once a week, and then you have the worst dreams in the world, and you start hallucinating, and you're paranoid mess, and then there's like stuff that.
What caused the malaria tablets?
Yeah. I think I'm still a bit loopy from them now.
Really?
I don't think it's the malaria tablets.
I got malaria tablets, but didn't take them. We didn't have to.
They were horrible.
Because I was so I went to a city.
What were you doing in Kenya?
That was when on my second time.
Right.
Get that later.
Can we go back to you?
He's on a sex talk.
Well, I was going to say, when are we going to bring that up? Like,
so I went to.
Had nothing to do with the army. I was like to get him in Kenya. Wanted to do it not in the army.
It was safari, but it wasn't for animals. Put it that way.
So I went to a city, mate. So mine was all sort of urban training.
Yeah.
So you do everyone goes through their general sort of operational training, which is, learning all your comms and everything like that. You have this stuff, which is like, I don't even know if we're allowed to.
That's what
we still signed up to the Secrecy Act.
I don't know.
What's the Secrecy Act?
Is it secret? Is it called the Secrecy Act?
Yeah.
You sign something to say you're not
going to. As well.
Yeah.
What happens on tour stays on tour.
You signed up.
I've got a few brasses signed up to that.
Yeah, you say you do sign to say, but you go down and you learn about all the different bits and bobs that is going to keep you safe while you're in a war zone type thing, or like this.
Got anything that you can just let us know?
In Kenya, you just got to wear a bag.
A bag?
Condom. Yeah.
Right. Oh, did he tell you all that?
Yeah, it's safety.
That was proper part of the training. That
was it?
Wear a bag. Yeah.
Did he teach you how to put it on?
Yeah. My dad never taught me how to put a condom on, so he was like, it was quite.
In
a good
school,
lesson.
it was on a cucumber, wasn't it, or a banana?
Yeah, a banana. It was for me. It was a paedophile taught me.
What school did you go
Did you
to?
do that in school?
No.
Merchant.
I went to Holy Family for 2 years. I went to Merchant.
Merchant Taylors.
Yeah.
Rob went to Merchant Taylors.
Posh school. That's
a very posh school.
I went to Holy Family for 2 years.
Did you
I went
play
to Merchant
cricket?
Taylors. No, I had a thing. So I joined in third year or year 9, and then just had a big chip on my shoulder, and they tried to make me to play rugby and cricket, and I refused. What'd you say?
Sorry, so we ate it.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, did they teach you how to put a Johnny on it?
Yeah, I'm a paedophile taught me.
Or did you have like something posh like a...
No, I'm serious. A paedophile
A
taught me.
dildo, a proper rabbit, state-of-the-art rabbit.
No. A paedophile taught me how to put a Johnny on.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
My biology teacher was a convicted paedophile.
Sure.
Was he?
Yeah, I come out of school, like, I think it was about 6 years later. Goes all over the Echo. Like me, biology. I was like, he taught me sexual education, and he's just there, just fucking.
Bloody hell.
That's amazing.
It was. School had everything.
When you see
had its own nonce, had its own pool.
Kenya to learn how to survive. What?
It's more climate, and then they were doing loads of vehicle stuff, because a part of our regiment were driving these things called Oshkoshes, which are like petrol tankers,
right?
Big petrol tankers. So they were doing loads of sort of safari training, if you like, out there, because you don't know what you're going to come up against when you're in like a desert type thing.
Yeah.
So they were doing all that, and then climate training, and then we were doing sort of all our like urban training. So we were again there's a place not Lydenhard, Salisbury Plain, where there's like there's villages, Fibula villages, which are set up still like Northern Ireland. There's villages that are set up like you come up against in Afghanistan, especially where we was in the city. So it's dealing with any threat that sort of comes your way. Obviously, there's lots and lots that you can deal with, but there's certain situations that you can't deal with, and it's just out of your hands type thing.
So, right,
like what?
Moving on. Go on, yeah, like what?
What are we talking
Shall I just go straight into that
What
now?
sort of situation is like?
I'm sort of trying to keep a chronological narrative, but it is good to have these questions because I will miss stuff. So, like what, fuck it?
Like a suicide bomber driving into you.
Right.
So is he dead?
No, he's not. He's here.
No, but I mean, like, so when they say, so they go, right, a suicide bomber could drive into you. What's their advice there?
So did you get trained for that?
Trained for a suicide? No, you get told it could happen. So this is the thing. So you have stuff on your vehicle that protects you against stuff. So like, say if you've probably seen it in movies where they press a mobile phone and go boop boop boop, and then the explosion happens. So they're radio controlled. So there's stuff on your vehicle that can help stop that. So you have a big 40-meter bubble all the way around you. So if anybody tries to set something off via phone, that it would stop. But so what happened with mine is I was driving. So I was driving a vehicle in a place called Kabul, which is the capital city of Afghanistan. And then
good money. It's good money. There's no roofs left. It's not because of you. It's because of you've been there.
And then a suicide bomber in a car drove into the back of the vehicle I was driving and blew himself up.
Was it definitely a suicide bomber, not road rage? Yeah, not the customer or something. He's gone, fuck yeah.
I know, yeah.
Sick of this shit.
And I thought I seen him the day before. Yeah. He was absolutely fuming, And so he drove into the back of the vehicle I was driving and blew himself up. Yeah.
How much of that can you remember?
So I remember someone saying, well, my section commander, Nath Murren, he said, Scouts blocked the junction, so I've gone and blocked the junction.
Yeah.
Blocked all the cars coming
down. So was you looking for people then? Or
No. So all we was...
Just the standard patrol?
We were just protection for these civvy trucks that were going from A to B and then from B to A. That was it. Right. So in the morning we picked them up and then in the afternoon we were taking them back.
And what do you know what they were carrying or like?
They were carrying just food.
Just for the locals?
Yeah, food. No food was for all the camps. Right. There was loads of different camps in Kabul. So they were bringing stuff back to our camp, which is called HQ ISAF. And they were bringing food, water, whatever else was on the truck.
Forgive me. You said something about a 40-meter radius or something of your vehicle.
That was a remote bomb.
So, are you talking about like if someone's trying to bomb your...
If someone's trying to set off a radio controlled, it would jam that signal.
Wow. Some good tech, that, innit?
Yeah, it would jam the signal.
So you couldn't really get... Because it just wouldn't set off.
Yeah, so unless it's this thing called command pull, which is if someone's pulled something and they were right by your vehicle and they detonated, but it'd probably kill them. Or it's someone, a suicide bomber running at you,
right?
Or a suicide bomber driving into you,
right? Okay.
So suicide bomber driving into you,
mad.
Shit goes into the back of you. Are you just thinking that's a civilian? At what point you realise? Is it when you're blown up, or is it like?
Oh yeah.
At what point do you, like? I didn't know. Is it not a civilian? Is it what like?
I didn't know what had happened until someone told me afterwards.
So you're not in a tank, are you? Yours is blown up as well.
Yeah. So
this
mine
is one big horrible explosion.
So yeah, this is. I was in a Toyota Stingray, it's called, and it was armoured. It was an armoured vehicle. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't armoured. And yeah, it's.
What was he driving?
He was driving a
Yaris.
He couldn't hear it coming. It was a hybrid. He had an electric. He couldn't hear it coming.
Bloody lecky Yaris.
So he was driving a Toyota Corolla. So
not far off, was it?
We got a threat brief in the morning, and the threat brief in the morning was look out for a white Toyota Corolla.
So you sort of had info.
We had sort of
intel,
a little bit of intelligence. So, but for me as the driver of the vehicle, and for there to be 90% of the vehicles were taxis in Kabul, and they were all white Toyota Corollas. So you just, but again,
cheeky little
your training just kicks in.
So Kabul, when you're there, how much of that is still an ongoing city?
Kabul.
It was a hustle and bustling city when we were there, but it wasn't like So after Tarmac Road, they had traffic lights, but nobody really took notice of the traffic lights.
Like speed cameras, only half of them are on. So fucking.
And it's not like, you know, when you wait on a roundabout and then, you know, you give way to the right. None of that. It's just fucking 2 lanes round a roundabout, but there's 4 lanes.
Basically a game of chicken.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Just
It's
chicken.
pretty much, yeah.
How much respect are they showing your car, sort of thing? Because obviously, if you're taking these trucks from one place to another, are they still just weaving in out of use, or are they sort of back off a little bit?
Yeah, and we obviously all this stuff is trained for before we go. Yeah. So you have these things called rock drills. So it's like, and you've probably seen it where, you know, like a prince or the queen or the king now is getting taken from A to B. Yeah. The police, you'll see the police on the bikes and they'll come and they'll block junctions and cars and stuff like that. So that's what our job was there and then for them. Yeah. So we would make sure that us getting from A to B and then from and then back to A, that it's done in the quickest and the safest way. So we would get our sirens on and we would go through the roundabouts and all the cars would get out of the way.
So they said that if we could have sirens.
We had sirens on.
Biker gangs do that with traffic lights. Fucking bastard.
Biker gangs from brutal. So what? Your sirens? That's just telling everyone it's the army.
Our siren, yeah.
They're
pretty
like
much,
camouflage sirens.
Are they?
Yeah.
Camouflage sirens.
It was I was in a city truck. It was a city truck, so it wasn't this big. But you knew we were military. We had all these antennas sticking out of the top. You know what I mean?
I'm just wondering, like, how much, like, this.
Can't get word in edgeways.
I think they did.
Mike can't get a word.
No, come on.
Listen, Mike's got about 6 words, 6 voices trying to go on at once. Right, he can't get away with himself.
So I think the British Army are over there. They're doing, on the whole, they're doing a good thing and they're doing it for the people of that country. So I think they do show you respect. Like we didn't have any. Like I was only over there 8 days.
If you see a yellow light behind you, if it's not police or ambulance, I'm not fucking moving. I was wondering the fella in Kabul's like, fuck it.
Is that because he's painted his lights yellow?
Hey, I'm gonna just branch off just a little because just a little. Do you know, right? If there's a siren behind you and you go through a red light and you get flashed, you have to pay that, you know.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah.
But you'd eventually, I think
you argue it and they let you off, but you are meant to.
You'll pay for that.
You still shouldn't go through the red light. You should have had enough about you to know to get out the way.
I've always thought that on the road. I've thought like that, like. Fuck.
Didn't happen in Afghanistan.
You're meant to
on the motorway though.
That's the last thing that's the last thing that went through your mind when that guy drove in the back. You don't have to pay this fucking fine. He's nudged me over the red light here.
Looking right off this.
There goes my Crater Fosters who come to the decompression in Cyprus. So he drives into the back, blows.
How long are you in over there for then? Oh, is this your first?
So I got over there on the 10th and I was back in the UK by the 20th.
Was he at fault to wait to the back here?
His insurance paid me out,
Sorry.
Lost his no claims though. That's
so yours was armoured, so it still fucking went up and smoke and everything.
So there was an American US Marine in the back of it that was killed instantly.
Right.
And then me and my friend that were in the front. The vehicle's flipped, landed on its roof, obviously in flames.
So how close are you working with them then, the Yanks?
Say again?
How close are you working with the Yanks?
So on the camp that we were on, there was about, 40 odd different nations on that camp. You know, there was Germans, Macedonians, there was Australians, everyone. And then
was everyone mixing, or was you all just sort of kept yourselves to yourselves, I think?
Mixing-ish. Right. Mixing-ish, because we're all there. We're all, going towards the same goal type thing. And then this US Marine, his name was Sergeant C. I can never say his name properly, so I don't want to show him like disrespect by saying his name wrong. But his name is Sergeant C, and he'd been over there for 12 months. He'd just signed up for another 12 months. 59 years of age, Vietnam, Desert Storm. He'd done everything.
How well had you known him? You
only met him for a few days. Yeah. No, only for a few days.
He's only been there 10 days.
Yeah, so only for a few days, and he come in. He was like the don of that camp.
Right.
He was a
Enoch, big name on campus.
He was the big name on campus, big name on campus.
So go on. So
and he asked us to do that detail. He come to not me personally, but he come to us and said, "Could you support me in this detail?" So I was Alpha team, and then we had Charlie team, which was out on the ground. So 2 vehicles at the front, 2 vehicles at the back, and then 2 civilian trucks in the middle.
So there was one yank in the back and the two of you in the front.
Yeah.
And then he drove it, and then the guy in the back.
Yeah, he landed on top of 2 ISO containers.
Right.
2 ISO containers. So you
Shipping
seen the ISO
containers.
containers down the docks?
Shipping
Yeah.
containers.
Shipping containers, yeah.
Yeah.
He landed on
Was
top
he
of 2 of them.
In
Dead.
well, like obviously when at that level of explosion, when you say he landed on that, like how is he like?
Oh, how intact is he? Sort of
Yeah,
thing,
is he like completely dismembered?
Obviously, personally, I didn't see him, but my section commander seen him, yeah, and apparently it was just his head and his torso left.
Oh my god!
That's it.
What do they do? What is protocol in the army for that? Do they go looking for your parts, or is it like we can't risk being out in the open now, so it's just he's left there, or what?
I don't know.
So-
I've not spoken to like a.
I don't mean for him personally. I mean, is there a general protocol
I'm not sure.
for something like that?
So go on, just
I'm not
talk
sure.
us through it. So when that blows up, like when you realise it's what's going on, what goes through what?
So the first thing I remember is loads of orange and loads of black and not being able to breathe. And I remember trying to get out of whatever situation I was in because I couldn't breathe. So I'm obviously trying to ding around. I had a little bit of therapy in the first lockdown, and a memory come back, and I reckon a local Afghan pulled me out of the vehicle. That's what come. Because I've always thought that I pulled myself out of the vehicle. Always told the story, macho man.
Yeah.
But when I've gone back for it, when I've done CBT,
Do you get like flashes coming back to you? Do you?
then when I done that therapy, that's it. So I don't know for a fact, but I reckon because when I opened my eyes, when I was lying on the floor outside the vehicle, the first person I seen was a local Afghan male.
Right.
And I remember putting my arms out to him, and he just shook his head at me.
And then, so is that all you really remember from the whole thing?
No, and then I got up and I walked away.
So where did you walk to?
Yeah, I walked away.
Where'd you walk?
I walked and I seen. So obviously, when something like that's happened, and Mike will tell you as well, that's called the kill zone. So anything within there is, needs to be contained and looked after. Yeah. So straight away, both teams would set up a cordon around that incident, and then they'll call the QRF, was the quick reaction force that'll come and support, and then you'd have obviously Afghan police, Afghan army, Afghan police who'll come and like try and do their bit as well. They haven't really got a clue, to be honest.
Yeah.
But and then what happened then is I got up and I walked just towards what I thought was safety type thing. And the first person I seen was my friend Steph. She grabbed hold of me, give me a big hug type thing, and then she handed me over to a Gurkha called Prakash, and then he took me to a vehicle, and it was a lad called Tuvivanu, who was a Fijian. He put me in the back of his vehicle, and I was just sort of sitting there. I was like, it was weird.
What state is your body in physically then, not just mentally?
It's what's the word? No.
Shock,
I know
like,
shock. Yeah, but what's the word when you have adrenaline?
Yeah.
So I had loads of adrenaline, so I didn't feel anything. I felt no pain at all, but I felt like my face was like the Elephant Man, because obviously I must have been bashed round. Well, with the injuries that I sustained, I was obviously bashed round the vehicle.
So you're back sitting in this Fijian's car, and what's going through your mind then? Or at what point you sort of...
I remember just like trying to cry, but I couldn't cry. Yeah. Like I was just like, oh my God, coming to a realisation of what's just happened. And then this fella come in the back of the vehicle, he had like Osprey body armour on, but he was in like his own clothes, and I was thinking, who the bloody hell's this? And he just come and he was checking, and I was like, oh my God, is everything still attached? And I'm asking him questions, and he's just, and I remember that, because I was a smoker back then. Yeah. And I asked
you were probably literally smoking.
Yeah, literally. exactly, yeah. And I asked Tui if I could have a ciggy. He went, no, you might need an operation, you can't have a ciggy. I was like, give me a ciggy. Because while I was on the ground, all my stuff had been stolen out of my pockets. So I had ciggies in my pockets been stolen. I had stuff on my arm that I had a picture of my family that was waved at some of our guys 2 days later.
Right, so who? What was the name of who you were fighting then? Because like, just loads of different names for like
Taliban.
The
Taliban. It was the Taliban that took the attack. Yeah.
So how come they stole that, but they didn't kill you?
No, that might have been a Taliban.
Oh, just a local.
Wasn't. It definitely wasn't the Taliban because they would have killed me.
Just a local who's just opportunistic. I'll have that. See you later.
Yeah.
Then he's obviously give that to the people.
Yeah,
someone's waved it at them, haven't they? So they mustn't have liked it.
So you can imagine, like, mates of mine or brothers and sisters of mine who
red rag anyway.
They don't really know what's happened. We're back. Me and my mate are back in a hospital in the UK.
How quick did he fly you home?
The following night.
Yeah.
I was on a flight the following night from.
And then, did you ever go back? Or was that you?
No, that was me.
That was you done.
Yeah, that was pretty much my career ended.
Could you physically not go back because of the injuries?
No. So I broke me back in 2 places.
Yeah.
Shoulder was messed up. And then
you walked.
Yeah. Yeah, to where the break was. I obviously, was in a wheelchair for a few days afterwards when I got back to the UK and stuff, because I was kept in a spinal bed from Kabul. On the flight on the way home, I was in a spinal bed as well. And then flight C-17. I don't know if you've been in a C-17, but this was an air hospital. So this was a hospital in the sky. Like, amazing piece of kit. And we flew back to Birmingham then, and I was in Birmingham for 2 months.
So you
just in hospital?
Yeah.
You walked with a broken shoulder and a broken back?
The adrenaline sort of...
Adrenaline.
Okay, now.
And I was in, and then when I got taken to the hospital in the back of a snatch Land Rover, Snatch Land Rover.
Just a snatch Land Rover.
Just a...
Good, the pussy in it.
See the perspex bits at the top of it. Have you seen them ones?
See them in there. They used them a lot in Ireland, didn't they?
Yeah.
Northern Ireland. But so I went to hospital in the back of one of them, and I remember there was an interpreter in the back of the vehicle, and I was like, I'm not going in that vehicle, because it was an Afghan, and I was just like, I'm not getting in the back of the vehicle with him, so we'll have to get out, and the fella had to get out, so I could get taken to hospital.
And is that just don't trust anybody at that point because what just happened to you?
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and it was like that for a little bit afterwards as well, and I think that wasn't no disrespect to. That wasn't no disrespect to Afghans, but I just it was just this thing, but it wasn't like
it's like a survival thing. It's an instinct, isn't it? It's not even
and I wasn't, and I've said this all along. It was never to. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but it was my mental state at that time. Yeah. My mental state was still in that. Oh my God, that. I
mean, if there's ever a time to stereotype. It seems a reasonable enough time
after someone blowing you up.
Yeah, after you've just had everything.
Right. But and then back to, as I said, back to the UK to start sort of rehab. But when I got back to the UK, the doctor was sort of like, so where the break in me back was, it was 2 places. It was just like, you're going to be okay to sort of walk and stuff like that.
When you're back in the UK, when you're back in the UK, are you in a ward with just other army lads
or other military?
Or you're literally straight back in with like just...
No, other military.
Right.
So it was a military ward in a place called Selly, and it was just full of heroes, absolute heroes who... There was an 18-year-old in the room in the room over there, 1 arm left. Yeah. People up the far end of the ward, no legs. Yeah. People, lost an arm.
18, 1 arm.
18 years of age, 1 arm. Yeah, I feel that bad. I can't even. What's his name? Chris. Can't remember.
Was he in a similar sort of thing, just blowing up in a...
Stood on an ID, yeah. So it's a different threat. And you may have come up against some IDs in Northern Ireland, but it's a different threat in Helmand, where they're sort of digging bombs into the ground. Yeah. So people, because it's all sort of it's frontline stuff there, so it's all on foot.
So in your experience of it, have you ever seen anything like that?
In terms of
that horrific?
I have. Yeah, that was on a training exercise actually in the Royal Engineers in Weymouth.
Right.
The floods in Cumbria.
Yeah.
So I did the tanks first time. I got out for 5 years, did some crazy stuff, and then joined.
Went to Kenya.
When I rejoined in the recession 2008. I went back.
So how long was you in for from 98 to
98 to 2004, and then
was it Kosovo?
And then Kosovo, and then 2 tours in Northern Ireland.
Yeah. Right.
And then I got out, recession hit. So I went back in. but went in the engineers this time.
So what was the worst thing you saw?
Oh, crikey. I mean, Kosovo wasn't nice. If you think it was Milosevic.
What is Kosovo?
Kosovo was like the ethnic cleansing, so the Serbians were sort of killing mass people because they wanted to get rid of that whole race of people, basically.
Right.
Right. And
so,
what detail did you have going into this? Like, because obviously, I imagine with you, Dave, and going over to Afghanistan and stuff, because that was active, what going on, it was all in the papers. You sort of not knew what you were going in for, but you sort of had an idea of what you're about to entail. But I don't remember anything about Kosovo. So I don't know, it's before my time. How much are you taught about what you're going into, or told about like what's happening?
We had obviously Northern Ireland. That was when I went there straight after Kosovo. Really, that was quite because that was in the news still in the 90s.
Another one.
Right, we're back. First ever break on Another One podcast.
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, the first.
Wow.
Yeah.
First non-comedians and first ever break. Not the first non-comedian. First no comedians at all. Shout to us two on the pod.
Hey, we're 10 minutes in on our comedian career, aren't we?
Practically vets now, aren't we?
We are veterans of the comedy stage.
You've seen some shit.
Seen a royal court, 80 strong.
You can do a weekend in Manchester in the middle of December. That's a war zone, Mike.
Hey, true story. I saw Warwick Davis in Manchester in the middle of December on a Segway. It was random.
Really?
True story, yeah. Because, like, one of my favourite films when I was a kid was Willow. I used to know it verbatim, word for word, and I was a bit like, worse
Didn't
for
think
wear.
he was 6 foot, did you?
Honestly, I was walking, I was like, that Warwick Davis like coming towards me, and he was like, honestly, on a Segway. He must have been doing a show in Manchester. I went, whoa, stop there, Daikini baby. And like, I want a picture. So you're my hero, man. I love you.
Like, give you a picture? Was he sound?
Yeah, I got a picture.
Oh, nice.
Sedgway.
A little Segway, them like 2-wheel Segway things.
You Sedgway or Segway?
Segway.
I say
I'm
Segway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a wool. Segway.
Segway.
Right, so...
Were we in Kosovo? Where were we?
Kosovo.
We were in Kosovo. We were in floods. Somewhere floods.
Oh, floods.
Cumbrian floods.
Cumbrian floods.
What are we on about?
Just your experience of frontline.
Your horrific frontline experience. Yeah.
I'm not going to try and word it any differently. What's the most horrific stuff?
The horrific thing you saw in Cumbria, you said, with engineers.
Yeah, so...
you forgot already?
Not 24-hour Mackies.
I like mince pies.
Have one if you want one.
No, I might do in a bit. I'm going to save it.
Right, okay.
Marks and Spencer's.
It was your training exercise, mate.
Yeah.
I suppose Kosovo was grueling in terms of it was ethnic cleansing. The Serbs wanted Kosovo back. They believed it was theirs historically.
Right.
Whereas the Kosovan people, it was the Irilians, I think, and they were like the first ever sort of indigenous people of Kosovo. But Milosevic said, no, that's ours because the Ottoman Empire took it over and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So they went in and started just killing Kosovan people, the Serbs. So like mass graves.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. It was proper horrendous.
And you go over there and you're hit with that straight away.
Yeah, because we were like the fourth tank over the border from Macedonia. It was like it was under 50,000 vehicles or something. It was massive.
What was your
I was
not
driving
remip sort of thing, but you're on a tank and you basically just go and blow the Kosovans back, not the Kosovans, the Serbians back basically.
Yeah, so basically the night before we went in, our sergeant major said, "Write your last letter home. We're going into fight." So I'm 17, writing thanks for my life. I've just had puberty and fucking. Nice one. Cheers, thanks. Basically.
Coming from a broken home.
17.
Just writing shite
You'd
to your
lost the
dad.
V-plates by then?
Only just. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. There's a story
So
behind
when he
that
said,
as well.
so when he says, so he goes, write your last letter home. It's being genuine to you all, saying that.
Yeah.
And then, right, okay, go on.
The next month, so we all write our last letter home. So if we get killed, then they'll post it for us, to our nearest.
How often in the army as you wrote your last letter home? I know not specific you two, but do you think there's people who wrote
I didn't do it.
3 or 4
I just done my
last
will.
letters home?
We all had to have a will.
Keep writing it so you don't have to go into battle. I'm on the 907th page. Get it done, Bateson.
Yeah. And my pogs are going to.
Make sure me Tamagotchi doesn't die. No, but so I had to do you probably have to do it as well. Snuff picture. They go, right, come and get your snuff pictures.
Oh God!
So you're all standing up against these vehicles and they're taking the pictures.
So
in case you get, so if you get killed, I've got the picture. I've got the pictures of the. That's say
Snuff
my snuff picture.
would they give you more than one take?
You're like,
I'll stake me chin on that.
So that's the picture. So if you do get killed wherever, that would be the picture that goes on the news.
Have you got a copy of your one?
I've got my one. Yeah.
I
didn't have cameras when Mike was in the
There's too
army.
much going in my head now about snuff.
He had a sketch. God, caricature.
98, I had a Kodak throwaway.
Just sketch.
Nokia 3310.
Anyway, come on. So you wrote your last letter. And
Last letter home.
Because the night before it was.
Come from a broken home, you're writing it like Stan. Fuck you, Dad, you never called.
But yeah, so that was it. Wrote last letter home.
Yeah.
Next day, we went in over the border from Macedonia, and it was mad. The streets were lined with thousands of refugees. And
right.
it was amazing. They were throwing flowers on our tanks and all sorts. But then we went through a patch of like some Greece people or something, I don't know, so they were throwing a few bricks at the elements. That was a bit random.
No, they were plates then. The Greek.
Plates, yeah. Hey, no, anyway, so yeah, we went in, and our first mission was to take Pristina Airport. So we all surrounded the airport, ready to take it. And as that happened, the Russian paratroopers dropped in front of us, and nobody knew about it. And
Whose side were they on?
Well, NATO. They were in NATO. So they dropped in, and this is where James Blunt claims that he went in and sort of defused World War III. I don't know if you remember that. I don't know if you remember that, James Blunt doing that. So
No, I know he's something to do with the army. Like.
Yeah, well, he went into Pristina Airport to mediate with the Russians because there was orders to
shoot
open
everyone,
up as if it were, because we were taking the airport as it were. But because of that, then we just sat on the road for 3 days, really. It was just a bit random. Then we went off into Kosovo and started pushing the Serbs back over the border.
So what happened with the airport then?
So the airport, unknown. I don't know, to be honest.
So you're talking to this, mate?
We just got moved up to the north, to the Serbian border, Serbian-Kosovan border. And
so when you say pushing them back,
literally pushing them back.
Is there much like sort of?
Yeah, there was resistance.
Like resistance.
Yeah, there was a bit. There was. I saw a guy get shot in the head 3 times. Got 3 rounds in his head. A Serb. And there was just there was some
close quarters.
So you're in the tank. What alongside the tank is the people like next to you sort of thing?
So basically what happened, my 3 tanks, our troop, we got put with the Royal Island Fusiliers up into Podijeva, so they were their fire support. So, but yeah, it was kind of literally just we were smashing in through gates and kicking Serbs out of compounds. And you know, the one thing that'll always stick with me forever is the Serb going on his hands and knees and holding a crucifix saying, "I'm a good Serb" and all this. And I just remember the commander just booting him in the head, saying, "Get out." It was and it was horrible, because it was, you go into houses and there'd be blood everywhere and dead families, and what the Serbs did was they'd say, right, you've got 10 minutes to get out, and if they weren't quick enough, they'd just kill the family straight away. So there was a lot of bodies, a lot of death.
Just left there for you.
And mass graves, finding mass graves, they were horrendous too.
So you wanted to go into the army, and then now looking back, you're thinking, oh, you wish you never bothered.
No, I'm glad I did it.
What now, or do you mean
it's my
at
journey,
that age when he's
path.
there now?
This is my path. This is in some weird way, it was my path.
Yeah,
that's just what I had to do, and I wanted to do it. I just wanted to do it.
I understand that, like.
Yes.
Right.
But so that was Kosovo, and then we got back from there. They said, "Who wants to go to Northern Ireland?" And I volunteered, and 4 of us went with the Fusiliers.
How long break did you have?
I had about 6 months, and I went on another 6-month tour to Northern Ireland, to Crossmaglen.
So when you get back from Kosovo, what is there an R&R there sort of thing?
Yeah, you get a month off. You come back, you have a week in camp, have a fight, get pissed, do whatever.
Yeah, because obviously they send comics over to things like that, and I've heard what these camps like. Is it literally just right? You've got a week to try and get over what you've just seen.
Get it out of your system.
Before you go back. Decompression, you call it, don't they?
I mean, it's different now because you go to Cyprus and stuff, but back then it was.
What did he tell you to say? Go for a week and get it out of your system, or what?
Yeah, I mean,
Crater Fosters on the beach.
Yeah, it was that.
Two-camp rule.
Theirs was, but I mean, we went straight back to Germany and just got pissed, and there's everyone was just fighting and just getting it out of the system. shagging prostitutes and doing whatever else.
Just fighting with each other, sort of thing.
Yeah, scraps, locals, whatever goes. But it was, just everyone.
It's mad, like, it's mad the idea, like, they say they're on standby and then just put back into like the fucking
into the world.
Well,
into the pub
there was a comic
with dickheads like me who are just trying to be the funniest person in the room, thinking I'll rip him.
Yeah,
and then,
I like it.
And the next thing he's gonna get fucking
we love that shit though. That's what the
you do now. But when you first come back, there must be a bit of it where you're like,
Sullivan lived with ex-army guy, and he was like driving one time, and then he had his family in the back, and he was just speeding. And they think he crashed into a wall.
Just zoned out.
Just got a flashback or PTSD or something. And and then I remember speaking to him when I was getting bladdered at Chris's gaff. And I can't remember what I was saying, but he was just like he hated it. He hated the how little of a shit they gave about him after it all.
Yeah,
like they literally just fucked him off. Like he despised.
Yeah, well, I know someone who come out of I think Afghanistan and couldn't handle how little of a shit the public gave.
Yeah. I mean, that I went through a phase of that, to be fair.
Because like you talking about Kosovo, and I do feel the ignorance for not having a fucking clue what you're on about. But you've seen something horrific. It's a major part of like someone's history. Do you know what I mean? A country's history, your history, and then just some dickhead like me. Like
when we come back, when our brigade come back to Aldershot, they done a march through Aldershot as if to say the brigade's back. You know, everyone was still in the desert combats and stuff like that, and they were shouting baby killers.
Yeah, some pretty gnarly stuff there. Kosovo was a good thing. That was a good thing that the British actually did.
Yeah,
Kosovo. Well, the first, I mean, by the end of it became a piss-up tour. But that first one that I was on was a good thing. It liberated a country.
How do you feel about the treatment of the soldiers when they're finished?
Now, see, now for me, I'm going to speak honestly. I don't think it's right that you just get you're on standby, you're still in the standby mode, get back in the real world, go away. That's wrong. They should train you out of standby somehow. Yeah. If that makes sense. If they trained you out of standby before you went out, it'd be okay. So I find that wrong. The other thing, like you're in a job, you get sacked, you leave, you move. It's a job at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And it is pretty gnarly the stuff you do and the sacrifices you make. But at the end of the day, it's a fucking job. So that's how I see it personally. I just think they should train you out of the standby thing. Yeah. Train you out of that standby thing. Be normal again. Get in the middle of that scale somehow. That'd be a good thing. However, fucking hell. We choose to go there.
How would you?
That's me personally, though. And don't get me wrong. I'll help my brothers out of here, support and comfort. But aside from that, it's fucking get over it. That's how I feel, though.
Yeah. Do you train someone out of standby?
I don't know.
No one's ever done it.
I think that's
that's the $1 million question.
It is a $1 million question.
Do you think it's a $1 million question, or do you think it's a $1 million question in the sense of how much does it cost to do all that training again?
Well,
yeah, but I think for me, and obviously the role that I do now to support veterans, there's because I've come through that, and Mike's just touched on it there as well, because I've come through that sort of journey out of the forces, and I see sort of where potential gaps are, and where we could make them gaps better, and it's not like get you out of standby mode. It's about putting something positive in place straight away, because a lot of people will come out and go down this dark path, which a lot of us, which a lot of us have been down. We've all been down dark paths in our lives.
That's because one of the things that's another something I want to touch on.
Yeah, go on.
Not in that, but I want to stick with Mike's thing first before we come, because you've both got that we want to talk about. The 6 months between Kosovo and Ireland, because you're still very much in the army, is a different mindset to when you leave and you're thinking, that's me done with the army. Do you get what I mean? So do you think was a difference between the 6 months you had between Kosovo and going to your 2 tours in Northern Ireland to when you stepped out and went, right, I'm leaving the army, sort of thing? Did your mindset change a little bit?
Yeah, I get what you're saying now. Yeah, I suppose on my second tour in Northern Ireland, that's when I decided I was going to get out. I thought, I've done enough now and that. And you sort of lose a bit of an edge in some weird way. So you start thinking about the grass is greener and unicorns and rainbows.
You're not a green soldier anymore.
Yeah, you just sort of like become a civilian in uniform. You play the game, you turn up in the morning. go through the motions. But yeah.
So you were saying then about like you're looking at things you could do to help them when they're coming out, and you've seen things. What are they?
So
like when you're saying that.
So what Mike's just said there, he's gone, right, I'm getting out. So when he then goes and makes that happen to say, right, whoever, that's me done, I'm going to leave. So, you start thinking about what you're going to do next. So in the military, they've got this thing called resettlement. So there's a resettlement package put in place for you, and then you can choose to go and do whatever you want to do. So if that's, I'm going to do a course to become an electrician. I'm going to do me health and safety stuff. I'm going to get my CV sorted. I'm going to do that. Some people...
Does any soldier get... Every soldier get that?
Landlord.
Say again.
I did pub landlord. That was a waste of time. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
Look a bit like our money. So everyone gets resettlement. There's different levels of what resettlement you get depending on how long you've served in the military.
Right, not to do with your rank or anything?
Yeah, no, not to do with your rank. It's to do with time served.
Right.
So I, as a wounded, injured, or sick soldier, I was given the full hit of resettlement. I chose not to take the resettlement package. I went to one thing and he started talking about CVs and stuff, and it was just like, but I had in my head what I wanted to do. But going back to what you asked us then. So once he said, I'm going to sign off, it's like, right, Mike, where are you going back to? I'm going back to Lancaster or wherever he's going to in the country. And then what I'd love to see, which is what I want to try and put in place if I can. I might just be too small a person in a big, massive pond. But to approach the likes of the military and go, have that conversation. So that communication from military to local authority, or communication from military to resettlement package, then from resettlement package, there needs to be some sort of welfare within there to then go, right, where's Mike going back to? Mike's going back to Lancaster. Okay, then what is in Lancaster that can support Mike?
Right.
So a potential veterans program that is active in Lancaster, and go, right, Mike, there's a veterans program. There's something positive that you can get into straight away.
Is there a national veterans program, or is it all just based on local areas?
It's all different areas. So obviously we've on our
area. That's probably something that needs to be set up for like a national local. Like,
well, there's national charities.
You've got your Royal British Legion, SAFA.
Yeah.
I mean,
ABF,
me personally, I've not had great. I've been waiting for ages for help from the SAFA, and it's like, it's so bureaucratic. They may as well be politicians, for God's sake. You know,
everybody has a different experience, don't they?
Yeah, everyone has different experience, but it's hard to get. It's hard. They're just too big. They're too big. So the littler charities are picking up the slack a lot of the time because they're too big. So you got loads of this different red tape to get help.
Lost in admin sort of thing.
It's just like. Just sat around waiting. I just think they're too big, but the smaller charities and like Everton for me, like Everton, they have
right.
That's it. That for me, like I took like for Nicky when I was in my proper darkness, when I was gone. Nicky rang me, and I can't even remember signing up to go to join Everton Veterans up online. I'd done it when I was off my head, and then Nicky reached out to me and called
me. All the positive things you did when you were off your head.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and whatever it was that made me do that, that was the start of my sort of path to back to the light, as it were. But Nicky gave me hope and the program.
With your two tours, when did the darkness start? In like, is it? I just want to ask a question. Then we'll start. I know it's me talking.
I'm tapped out now. It's not going to change. You can't help it. I think it's a disability. I almost think he's disabled now. I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I think he's disabled. I think he's disabled.
I'm too enabled.
You have just been diagnosed.
I'm too enabled,
You know what you said at the beginning? Don't get diagnosed.
That's not a diagnosis.
I've tapped out now.
18 months yet? What's going to happen in 18 months?
Maybe 18 months you'll...
Hey, listen, when I get a chat show and you've been fucked off, that's when... Is there anything...
Can't wait for that day. Oh, what a day.
Is there anything mentally that changes between being in Kosovo? That is...
I need to sign up to your programme, Dave. Coming out of a podcast, where can I go? What's this Everton Sabbath thing going?
Is there anything mentally that plays on you for going from being Kosovo, something positive that the army did and the British did, and like then having that mental thing of being in Northern Ireland, which is then really controversial. Similar with you, so like the whole baby killer thing, is there something that just that triggers you, or like that mentally sends you down a dark path, or is it doesn't really bother you what you're there for in the sense that like
it's not. I mean, like for me, so Northern Ireland, for instance. I mean, it's weird Northern Ireland because you can understand them as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, that's what I mean. It'd be controversial because like
that was
you'd have people like me who go, oh well, I can understand the IRA being a republic, so wanting republic, and then it's like at the same time, I've got mates who've been over there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like, you know, if you saw a load of, say, Northern Irish soldiers patrolling the streets of Liverpool, you'd be getting pissed off, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So I kind of understand. I get it. But in the name, you've got a job to do. You know, so you know, you're a professional soldier at the end of the day. So no matter what your feelings are and political feelings and thoughts and everything, you put all that aside to be a professional. And be the best you can be.
Yeah.
Be the best soldier. Be the best.
Be the best, eh?
Be the best. Be in the grass green. But yeah, so I mean,
you get a bit of a kickback on that when you get that saying it.
But it's about being professional, and being the best, and that's what it's about. And ultimately, looking out for each other.
Yeah.
In your section or whatever, you know, that's important. You know, so you just kind of put all the rest aside and then try and not get shot or blown up.
Okay. So
yeah.
Where do you think the darkness then comes from?
It's after, isn't it, Dave? It's after. I didn't hear any darkness for 13 years, something like that. Then something clicked. Don't know what it was, but
mine was pretty instant.
Yeah.
But darkness. I think for me it wasn't so much darkness. It was something that was missing.
Yeah.
So I was missing something, and
half your back.
Say again.
Half your back.
Half me back, half me shoulder. Yeah, couple of ligaments in me hand. And I was sort of searching for something in you know, in my darkness. I was searching for something, and I didn't know what that was, and obviously until I found it. So I was a little bit destructive. So I became a gambler. So I started. I became a compulsive gambler. I haven't gambled for 8 years now. But
how quickly out of
shit house?
That was a gamble right there.
World Cup's just been on your shit house.
Pussy.
Hey, I would have just betted on England anyway.
When does that start then? When do you start searching, do you think?
So I think the thing for me was because I was an injured soldier, you're sort of wrapped up in cotton wool. So you're like, go to hospital there, and then, private Curtis, you're going to go to Headley Court and you're going to do your rehab and stuff like that. So everything's done for you. You're around all these people still that are your people.
Yeah.
So brothers and sisters that you join with, that you live with, that you know, because I was in for 6 years, so I met all these amazing people that became my family. They're the people that I lived with every day, and then you go to the likes of, you know, Selly and full of military again. You go to Headley Court, full of military. So one side, so like I'd gone through my rehab, and then I tried to get back to being fit again. So I tried to get back to being a soldier. I'd volunteered to go back out to Afghanistan, and I put myself. I volunteered to go back on an OBAT for Afghanistan, and I was trying to do the training, but I just couldn't. I was just physically, and then I suppose mentally, I just wasn't ready for it. So it got to the point where the doctor's like, "Listen, mate, you're done.
Yeah,
you know, that's it." So
what age were you?
I was 12, like 27,
young,
27. So. I get 27 or 28. So I was sort of told I was getting medically discharged. So I went for a medical board, and then that's where they say sort of what you're getting out with. So, you know, you're getting a pension, you're getting, you know, lump sum, blah, 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 blah. And then, so I got compensation naturally, because that's what you get. You get Armed Forces Compensation Scheme, you get compo. And I've gone sort of through me rehab, everything like that, gone back to my unit, then I get told I'm medically discharged. Get out, But I didn't get out. I was on sick leave for like 2 years or something like that. So 2011, 2012 was just like the most horrendous time. Like I had I had loads of family, everything, but I was on. It was the loneliest I've ever felt. Weird feeling.
What was you doing in that year, sort of thing?
Nothing.
You have a missus or kids or anything?
So I had a partner at the time. Didn't have me little girl just yet, but I had a partner at the time, and again, everyone was just at an arm's distance. I just kept everyone at an arm's distance, and they could see the different. Like my mum always said, like I don't want to get upset on this, but my mum always said, "You never come back. You never come back. Me same little boy that went."
Yeah.
Type thing. And
I
never.
had that.
So you can.
I was taking a piss. I was going, well, I
My
had
mum had that when I came back for Beat the Frog in 2014. Ever since that 5, you've never been the same kid.
But she always
Drop
said,
off in
you never
Birkenhead.
ever come back. Never ever come back the same. And I suppose that's a lot for, that's just my, personal thing.
Yeah.
But I suppose a lot of people are the same, a lot of families. And then I just started searching for something. So that gambling, so I already gambled. It wasn't like something but the gambling got out of hand. That's where it became I was a compulsive gambler. I became a compulsive gambler. So I could not. The first thing I thought about when I woke up in the morning was gambling. What bookies am I going to go to? And it was fruit machines. It's always been fruit machines, not horses, not roulette or anything like that. It's fruit machines.
And did you play fruit machines before?
Yeah. So I worked in Gateys and Bootle. So I was always trying to jackpot that when I got. But I was a bit destructive there as well, because I was always throwing my wages, and it was like, Mum, lend some money until the next week type thing, and obviously never ever giving it back. We've probably all done this with our
Good
parents.
man.
Mum was a good girl.
So and then it just got really, really out of hand. Like I was lying then, so I was starting to lie about where I was, because I was embarrassed. I was just standing at a fruit machine for 6 hours.
So you sort of knew you would be.
Yeah, I knew. And then I said to my partner at the time, I just said, listen, I think I've got a problem. And I think the next person was my dad. I think I spoke to my dad and stuff. And then, partner was really
next to you on the other one.
Yeah. he just jackpotted the roulette. No, and then we just started looking at so I went to a place called Gamblers Anonymous.
Yeah.
Down in Luton. And it was just like, my mind was blown, like all these people around the room, and Michael probably share some stuff in a minute, where you're in a room and you're sharing. So it's like, I'm Dave, I'm a compulsive gambler, so a bit like off Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Bruce. You go, hi, Bruce. But,
That's the custard cream.
no, but you're literally in a room full of people, and they're all talking about they're all sharing their struggles of not putting a bet on, or making sure they pay the bill and not going down the bookies or whatever. And it was just opened my mind.
How bad did it get money wise, financially, if you don't mind?
For me,
yeah,
I lost quite a bit of money. Yeah,
was like, how was you funding it?
Through my compensation.
Was it?
So I was able to I was only able to afford a little bit at the end to like sort myself out a car and stuff. But not like a card as in like, like a full-on card. It was, you know what I mean? It was.
I best buy this car before this money goes.
But
you paid that much for this?
So did you get yourself into debt and stuff, or?
No, not then. No, but because I could fund it, so I wasn't having to go into like I could fund it. But I think it was the behaviours. So it was the behaviours that I was obviously showing. Like the money's irrelevant in a way. It's the behaviours that I'm showing, and I was being destructive towards myself because I was trying to sort of find my way through this little blip. It's because it's a little blip in your life, and then once you find that positive within it, so someone, I was at a point where I didn't want to carry on. I didn't want to carry on in life, so I was at a.
Is that after Gamblers Anonymous then?
Yeah, so Gamblers Anonymous, it was all around the same time pretty much.
Yeah.
So I was at a point where I was just like, what's
You're back
the point?
from Luton?
Yeah.
Right.
That's looting the place.
So 2011, 2012.
Is it Luton? I don't know. I'm just asking.
I meant Luton.
Luton down south.
Luton
Luton.
shops, yeah.
And then Luton shopping there. Yeah. So how long was you in Luton for?
Say again.
That's all right, mate.
So I wasn't. I was
wasted on
based.
it.
Obviously, I was still based in Aldershot, but my partner was at university in Bedford. You were talking about Bedford before.
So the Gamblers Anonymous thing, that was the that you found that in Luton because you were down there.
Because I was down there, so
right,
that was the place
I thought you'd
could
left
go.
Liverpool to
So
go
in
to
Betfred.
No. What?
Betfred.
Bedford.
Or Bedford. Betfred.
Yeah.
Sorry, man, my
There's a
bad.
place called Bedford.
Sorry, that was Hank. That was me.
But yeah.
29 black came in, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So 2011, 2012, that's where all that destructiveness, if that's even a word, was happening. And I got to the point where it was just like, what's the point? What is the point? And, you know, I'm just wrecking my life. I'm wrecking everybody else's lives and stuff like that. And then someone gave me a leaflet. For a program, a charity called Everton in the Community, and this program was a veterans program.
Did someone give you that down south?
So I had a personal recovery officer again because I was wrapped up in cotton wool. I had a personal recovery officer called Captain Chris Knight, and he told me about this program that Everton ran, and I rung up and then made the sort of the phone calls and stuff and I got invited down, and that was where my life just changed for the better. That was where my life just went up.
When you go to Everton, are you going to get military help or gambling help, or like, I know it was a military thing, but I mean, what were they helping you with then?
So going down to Everton,
was it just understanding
play
where you come
football,
from? Right?
Play football. Just go down. They done a thing called a coffee morning, which
still happens now.
Naffy breaks still happen. Yeah, it still happens now. And then they done football in the afternoon once a month, and it was like it changed my life.
Yeah,
like boom, there and then changed my life
straight away from day one.
Yeah. So the thing was that I was searching for, which I believe I was searching for, and nobody could ever put a pinpoint on. Right, that's what you were searching for in that corner over there. It was the people that were around me, like-mindedness.
Yeah.
So I was having conversations with people and he understood what I was saying.
Right.
Where you sort of, everyone goes through trauma. Everyone goes through. So I got diagnosed in that time as well. 2011, 2012, I got diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So around that time, I needed people who I could talk to about stuff that I'd sort of been through, that I was going through at that time, and nobody could understand that. Like my family and stuff, they just wanted to smother me, which is great.
Yeah,
you want to smother you and make sure you're all right. But what I needed to have a conversation with somebody who had been in a similar situation or who had been in the military.
Yeah,
just to because that's what I needed. That's what I miss, and that's what I still miss today. Like I would join back up in a heartbeat. Like I still miss that.
To be with the camaraderie.
But I get that now from the job that I do.
Do you think everyone should be diagnosed with PTSD coming out of a war zone or something like that? Do you think everyone has it?
I think everyone has some sort of.
It's probably the most undiagnosed thing ever.
Disorder.
Well, this goes back to that YouTube video.
Yeah.
But he talks about that you trained. This is an Australian Special Forces guy.
Mike, into the mic, please, Mike.
It's an Australian Special Forces.
Move the mic, don't move you.
I'm joking. It's an Australian Special Forces guy. And he does this whole course on it all. And it's basically, it's like he says, you train to have PTSD from the moment you join because of the way they break you down and traumatize you almost into shocking you into being on standby. And then say that you will wear these clothes, we will shave your hair off, you will dress like this at this time, you turn left this way, you turn right this way, and then eventually they build you up and build you up and build you up till you're just like a robot basically. And so anything goes bang, you go boof, you're in, you know what you're doing. Yeah, like second nature subconsciously.
I think everybody's got a trigger in them. Everybody.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I suppose as well, I mean, it's not just like the military. I suppose it's everyone has their own different perceptions on like what they think's traumatic, right?
Right.
So it's I mean, I always found that a lot of people who've come not from broken families in the army, they seem to be a lot calmer than everyone else. Looking back in hindsight now. They seem to be kind of all right mostly. The people who I know.
Not seen the arguments sort of thing growing up, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know, but I always found that people who were from, good, solid families seem to be more together in some strange way than like the guys like myself who were from broken families. So, I mean, that's just my personal experience. I'm not saying that's a broad statement. But
no, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Just people I know who are from together families seem to have it together better. In some strange way. You get me?
Yeah.
As you can see, Mike has not got it together.
I've got left brain, right brain, just having a go at each other right now. So. Yeah.
Because you think somebody said that we don't deal with trauma well enough then?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe I suppose in what respect?
Well, just because, like, obviously, so my dad was at Hillsborough, and I've seen a lot of people who were there or have witnessed it all in the stands who just have never dealt with what happened, sort of thing.
And again,
because no one's
maybe.
why would they? No one's pulled them aside. Like, there's not like anyone going, yeah, I'll come here. You've dealt with something here. You need to sort it out.
But even
that generational. Because if you look at that era there, look at the guys from the World Wars. They never talked about it.
Yeah,
and they were just like they just went with it. Maybe that's an era thing, and
you know, get on with it.
Yeah, and the world's now more open, and you know, it's all it was social media where everything's there instantly, and everyone's like worried about saying the wrong thing or all this stuff, and it's all accumulates to this social construct that we're all soft. We're not hard anymore, are we? As a race, I don't think personally we're not as hard in some way. But then if you go through your rough and traumatic times, you become resilient in some crazy way. Like you become more resilient.
So it's a bit strange. You don't sort of wish that trauma on anyone.
You don't wish it upon anyone, no. But
I had Rogan say a saying.
Go on.
What was it? It was.
I know exactly what you say.
The hard men create
hard times make tough men. Yeah. Tough men make
hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. Hard times create tough men. So like it's all circular.
Did you say amen? Amen. Right, yeah.
Like, what happened to the break? Yeah, it's gone now.
I don't know. I just had a nice time outside with
It's all about drugs. That's got all excited.
About magic, and then everything went a bit funny. But yeah,
right. So you reckon we're all soft? Yeah.
Speaking of magic,
I don't think everyone's soft. But what I'm saying is that I think society in general,
right?
Is I don't know why. I don't know what's changed between sort of that generation to our generation or whatever. What changed? I don't know.
I think
you know what I mean? I'm going a bit deep and heavy. AIDS.
Nerds.
I thought you said AIDS.
No, nerds just learning how to do things.
Nerds. Oh, nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds.
Like the sweets.
I get it, yeah, nerds.
I think for me is people, especially around mental health as a topic, people have become a lot more aware. There's a lot more training and awareness around
awareness, isn't it?
Awareness around mental health. So that's mental health in other people. So you spotting signs and symptoms within other people. So then having that conversation of how are you, mate? Ask twice and all that.
Yeah.
But then you're also more aware within as well. So like I know for me, I've got triggers, and I know I can spot signs and symptoms in myself if I'm gonna have a crap day or whatever. But I think there's a lot more awareness around that topic.
See, now you saying that there, I would never have known these triggers until I've been through rehab. Do you know what I mean?
So if you're specifically, why do you have any reason why it was gambling? Because obviously, you never been drink or drugs. No, it was just gambling.
Just gambling, yeah.
And what was yours?
I was drinking drugs.
Was it? Yeah.
just
talking about magic.
Gambling way worse because there's no physical symptoms. I think drinking drugs, you can see.
Some people.
So you say Dave's got it harder than Mike because
10 times harder. Oh man,
yours is a pussy addiction, right?
No, but just off what you said there, there's some people that
addicted to pussy as well.
Some people that think that happens. How can gambling be an addiction? Because
to wanting to
you're
be
not
rich.
injecting something, or you're not putting something in your mouth, or you're not drinking. But there was that the fella who used to do the Real Hustle, Alex.
Oh yeah.
He done like.
I remember the fit bear from Epic.
Yes. But they done this program where they done the like electrodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And there was a person on a fruit machine, a compulsive gambler on a fruit machine, and they were showing when they get like the
hit,
when they get their hit.
Dopamine.
Yeah. So when do you think when do you think a gambler gets their hit?
You're going to say when they've lost everything, aren't you?
I say when you press the spin.
The chase, yeah. So the chase is where they get it. So when it goes bum 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 bum. When you've won it, it just goes. Ugh.
Yeah, that's it, innit? Yeah.
Because a compulsive gambler doesn't stop when they're winning, or it doesn't stop when you've won. A compulsive gambler wants to go for the big. It's all about the big win. It's all about the big win, always. They just, why are you smiling? You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It's not that. I just think, I laugh at dumb shit, don't I? I laugh at everything. I'm awful.
He's beautiful.
Yours was drinking drugs.
Yeah.
Why did it take 13 years? Talk us through that.
I suppose. Well, I don't know. It just sort of hit that I was like miserable. I don't know. I just thought like I hate the world. I just hated the world. I had this anger.
So how old were you when yours hit?
50.
I suppose it started proper in sort of 4 years ago. This is me now on the recovery. Is it where I'm in recovery?
So you're quite.
I'm fresh, man. I'm fresh from it. Yeah.
Fresh.
So yeah, I've the last 4 years I'd just been in a dark. I've been in hell. I reckon.
Right.
But yeah,
so 4 years ago,
I just thought I hate the world, and I had this rage in me that I can't describe. I felt I didn't belong anywhere.
Was you living with that for a while?
Yeah, for a bit. Yeah, I mean, when you come out, it's like. When you come out, sounds wrong, doesn't it? Yeah. When you leave the army, it's like you just left at it, right? So then it's like you feel like a bit, you don't belong anywhere. You've got no purpose anymore. Like putting that uniform on in some crazy way, even though I chose to leave, putting that uniform on, it give you an identity, some kind of purpose. And then when that's gone and that belonging's gone, then you're on your own. It's just, everything's like, you get wound. I was getting wound up with people whinging about crap things. I'm thinking, what are you whinging at there? Do you know what I mean? It's like, this isn't that bad, really. You know, like he's like, I don't know, it's like falling over or something.
Yeah.
Someone taking the lower offer on the chase.
Yeah. No, that's serious, man.
That'll set any cunt off. Golden balls are split on steel.
Honestly,
can't take any more of this.
I want to smash my screen when that happens to you. Like, honestly, the worst people in the world ever.
And
I don't mind the lower offer. It's when it's a minus offer.
Don't take a minus.
As long as you're adding something.
It's a grand.
Yeah, grand. But
you can't take a minus.
Yeah, I'm a gobshite. I'd say I'd go big and then probably shit out when I'm there.
Depends what's in the pot, doesn't it?
And I get he's giving me the eye. Bit of rough.
No, gambling. Always back ourselves for the big one. Mark Lebet's got none on me.
Joe, on tipping point when they say, hey, do you want 3 more goals?
Oh, I say, put me up another step. I'll start behind the cup.
It's like the machines in the
$500,000, I'll go 2 steps behind Lebet. Have it, Bradley. What?
The droppers where he's like knocking the alarm goes off. Do you remember that? Oh, God, yeah. But I suppose I was just angry, and then I felt I didn't belong, and then I just thought, I don't know, I just felt alone. Like I felt empty, and I just had this empty anger.
Did you have a family with kids?
Yeah, wife, 2 kids, yeah.
Right.
And I don't know, I can't describe it. I started drinking on a weekend. Friday I finished work.
Yeah.
I get a 10 Stella, bag of sniff.
For work, what was it?
And then that was it.
What line of work were you in?
I've been in construction.
Right, construction. Okay.
Yeah.
Wrong choice of words there.
What did I say?
Line of work.
Line of work. Hey, did you mean that? It's clever.
Look at this. It's magic.
I like that. Oh, yeah,
Don't start on the magic.
Oh, stop it, man. This is nice.
I didn't mean that one, I'll be honest.
Blow my mind here, pal.
That was a genius. I'm like, there's no opposition on the genius switch. Even I'm trying to not do
Can't
it.
go sober from the funnies.
So you were doing construction, and then you.
So you started off Stella.
So on a Friday, I just get a bag of sniff and 10
in the
Stella.
house.
In the house, and that'd be me. And then it turned to get another 10 Stella. And then eventually it'd be turned to Saturday. I'd do the same. Then Sunday I'd do the same.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was Monday, and then it was Tuesday, and then eventually it was just every day, 7 days a week. I was doing it, and then what the point is where it starts the demise. You say it's a progressive illness addiction.
Yeah.
It comes over time. So when it starts hitting the wallet, that's always for me. It's the money. As soon as the money starts going, I mean, at a point I was on sort of 70k a year. At this point, I was the head of manufacturing in this modular company, which was horrendous, by the way. I hated it. It was the worst 2 years of my life. That's probably part of my demise too. But anyway,
was that part of your trigger though? Just like
I was all over the place. I was chasing this mad dream, and I was living this rock and roll lifestyle. What I thought,
what was the mad dream, or
my dream?
What was the mad dream?
I just want to be a billionaire.
Right.
That's the truth.
I want
to be a billionaire.
I'm
That's it. I do. And I
do all this, do all that.
My head never stops with ideas. I just want to build amazing things. My head's full of amazing things that I can build, but I just need the money to do it first.
Don't just get Lego and be happy.
Oh, I built a crane.
Try to build a 10-minute set, see how you get on.
But yeah, so that for me, I want to just. I've got ideas to save the world.
So you started to do it. So Friday, Saturday, and then it just started getting like, I'll do it again. Vicious
just do it again, and it's just, and then eventually, like before I even realised it, Vic's like, "Where's all the money at?" So then I started getting a credit card, and started getting a loan, and I'm getting stuff on tick, and just to try and suppress her. So then I'm like keeping that secret, and then I'm going to the toilet at first, and I'm doing a line in the toilet at home, flushing the chain, like that, and eventually it just I'll come to a point where there's just no money left at all, and I don't like say $1,000 here to him, $1,000 there to him, and. That's when it started proper going bad, really, to be fair, and lying about it, and I wake up and I couldn't wait to get out of bed to get a line. As soon as I woke up, I'd have a line.
So were you drinking and doing drugs any time in that 13 years?
No, last 4 years. Last 4 years.
So when you come out of the army and then you weren't bad, you'd had a drink, but you weren't bad, and then at some point...
Was it all just recreational?
Snapped, just recreational, but it went straight from that to that.
Were you bored?
I might have been a bit bored, but I just had this. I don't know what it had. This rage. What you basically what I'll get. What you learn in treatment is that you've got this subconscious mind and a conscious mind, right? And so you have all these shit going on in your subconscious mind that you don't even know you've got going on. And then eventually you start acting out. So you learn core beliefs about yourself. So you start from when, like my trauma started when I was 4, apparently. My dad left and I didn't know why he'd left. So I'm abandoned. That's one of the core beliefs, right?
Yeah.
I'm unlovable. I didn't know I had ADHD, so I've always been bad, naughty, no, get out, smack. That's just my life because I've never understood who I am, really, because I've always been a bit fucking loopy, you know what I mean? And then eventually, so I have these core beliefs that I'm bad, I'm lonely, I'm abandoned, stay away. So then with them, you act out a certain way, and you act out to stop yourself from being hurt, like whether that's emotionally or physically. So then I'll act out like I'm gonna try bigger, like fuck off, like angry, just keep like defend, attack. You don't even know you're doing this stuff. You don't know it. Until someone tells you about it, and this is your subconscious protecting you. So then they bring that to the front of your mind, and your consequences. Well, I was homeless for a week. I was living on the streets. Then I got into temporary accommodation at the block.
Hold on. When's this? This after the drugs?
This is like my journey to it now.
Yeah.
So this is one of the consequences to tie it all in. My consequences are, so I was homeless. My wife kicked me out.
Yeah.
I chose drugs before my kids.
Yeah.
That level, like
it's the past 4 years. This.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and like and I'm basically filling these voids that you don't even know you need to fill, just to find some fulfillment, just to fill it with something that's not life. You know what I mean? To break away from reality.
What are the techniques to cope with that and to?
So for me, something daft, like something simple. Take a deep breath. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm just saying inside my head, you will not steal my inner peace and harmony. Yeah. That's the sort of thing I say in my head. If someone pisses me off, like if I see someone angry, I'll just take that deep breath and I'll think, you will not take my peace and harmony.
So do you ever think you just want to go and get a crate and a bag and then?
Right now, no.
You never even have like something creeping in, or
not? Right, not. I'm 7 months clean now. And like, honestly, it's because my nose was bleeding, and I'm still trying to get more up. You know what I mean? I'm trying, and then I go into other stronger stuff because I can't get it in my nose anymore. You know what I mean? So you're trying to get whatever you can get, and it hurt me. It was almost hurt. Everything was hurting, and I was begging this guy.
Was there any enjoyment in it?
Fucking, to be fair, in my head, right, I didn't because you don't know the destruction you're causing around you. You think you're all right. So I was unaware that all this stuff I was like doing this, like turning my wife, like sending her despair and, choosing that over my kids. I thought I was doing all the right stuff, me. I'm providing and doing this, but in reality, I was destroying everything around me. Everything. I lose contracts and all sorts.
I think that's a generation thing as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of men, from a certain generations who, as long as you're providing, then you're doing your job.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it doesn't matter what's going on or how neglectful you might be being at home or stuff like that. If you're providing, you've done your job, so you you can justify everything
like Frank
else.
Gallagher off Shameless, isn't it?
Yeah,
Frank Gallagher, he's obviously getting benefits for the house and everything like that, but he's doing all this destructive shit to himself and everything around him.
Provided it's exhausted, I'd just like to point that out. You gotta have a little respite every now and then. Come on, don't throw us all under the bus here again, would you, Thomas? It's all right on the Patreon, but not in public. Fucking hell, providing's enough.
Look at it like that.
Brody, you had that attitude, man. You did it all right.
Yeah, so it's just kind of, you just don't realise the destruction you're causing around you until you're on the street.
Where you getting in? Was there still an enjoy? Because obviously some people get to the where they're just doing it because they even hating doing it at the time. But you still getting a little bit of a buzz when you get that crate and get that back, and you'd be like, oh yeah, like
not off the sniff, not off the alcohol. But off the weed and that, I'd love it. I still love it. I felt now smoking weed. He's just, because Bob Marley says you're talking to your subconscious. I love all that.
Cool. The romance of it.
Man, I just love it. It's just, I just love that. For me, I still think about it. It's just like you're talking to someone other in some crazy way, and that I love that. Me, I feel like it's just amazing.
You don't do.
I don't want to get you to do any drugs again, but you need to do a DMT by the sounds.
Oh man. That's one thing I'm allowed to do. I'm allowed to do DMT in the right circumstances, like a shaman and that. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Fact.
That could be a weird trip for you.
Amazing.
Well, no, I know. Well,
with the right intention, you got to set a right intention, do it right, haven't you?
We've got a mate who did DMT to stop himself doing beat because of a big addiction.
Yeah.
And they literally, like, just because you see certain things, one of the things is like a mother sort of thing. And he's like, why are you here? Well, I need to stop snorting. I don't know why I'm doing this. Just stop it then. And the first time, and he said, come out to the trip, and the first time he's ever just like, never touched it since.
Mad, innit?
But among times he's heard that or told himself that or something.
So where'd you do that? Do you have to do it? Is it?
You got I mean, there's like.
Did you get it on the NHS?
No.
Well,
in the box in Mojo,
they're trialing it, but it's
yeah.
Is it? Is it in the States? Is it?
No, you can get it over there.
It's a tree bark, innit? So that's ayahuasca.
So DMT is
ayahuasca,
that's ayahuasca. DMT is when you die, the last chemical your brain produces is DMT.
Oh, was it?
God molecule.
So when the God molecule, when people say they've been to heaven or like anyone dies and then comes back to life, they've experienced DMT. So they need to go on about being a trip or meeting someone or something. So you take that drug and it gives you the same. So that you can take it in little doses and it gives you sort of trips, like a little bit like mushrooms and stuff. But if you take it properly, you're meant to like leave your body and you go on mad trips sort of thing.
Yeah, but sometimes you have a bad trip though, and it can fuck you forever.
Like one of our mates, Paul Smith, he spoke about doing it, and his first trip was amazing. Like he was like when he first got famous and stuff, struggling with all the fame and the money and stuff, and he took a DMT trip, and he was just like the mother. It's meant to be Mother Earth, but it's a woman sort of thing you're meant to see, and she was just sort of holding him.
Lollybag.
She was sort of holding him and telling him, "Stop it. You're a good person. Stop it. You're okay. Stop it. You're a good person." And I see you come out. That's all I wanted. Like that's the thing that's hurt me most. Like
mad because like knowing that, well, I don't know Paul Smith, but obviously see the stuff. I can imagine him telling that story.
Oh, there's a clip of him telling it probably online, and like and then because he got that such a good feeling from it, he then started abusing it, and with the same Mother Earth come to him, say no, it wasn't. I think when he met Mother Earth, someone he was on a trip, and they just slapped him, and straight out of the trip, and said stop abusing it, and then he had been touch it for a while. Then,
but I suppose it's that thing. It's like where he's touched his soul in somewhere, like you say, that feeling.
It's one of the things. Like I do want to try it at some point. Like, I'm worried though, because I'm too self-assured and confident. And I'm scared it'll break me. That's the problem. Like, I'm scared I'll lose it. Like I do believe that this whole 18 months thing and the sound of my own voice, obviously I love that. Like it's a full thing. And so I'm scared it'll break me. But going back to you, Mike. So temporary accommodation.
Have to slip some in a mince pie.
So you were at the
rehab, then into rehab.
How'd you get into temporary accommodation?
Do you know? I can't remember. All I know is that this guy called me from the block called Colin. He rang me and just said, "Mike, come here to this address." I don't even know how it happened. But I think it was Tom Harrison House, the rehab where I was going to. I think they must have got in contact with him or something. I don't really know.
Right.
I just know I ended up.
You're in contact with THH.
Kind of,
before you
yeah,
go
little
in, aren't you,
bits,
with Glenn?
yeah, little bits. But again,
How did you get in contact with them? Was it you or did somebody say?
no, do you know what? Again, like I'd signed up for Everton veterans, like in my madness. I'd obviously found Tom Harrison House in my madness and just called him.
So Tom Harrison House,
Yeah.
for anybody that doesn't know, who's obviously listening and watching as well, Tom Harrison House is a veteran-specific rehab facility.
Oh, was it a veteran one, is it? I didn't know that.
The only veteran-specific rehab facility in the entire country.
Right.
And
And
it's
in
ran out
Liverpool.
of a little house, small
Anfield.
charity in Anfield. And you won't mind me saying that. And he saved lives.
Save lives,
Save
amazing,
lives
magical.
every single day.
So you did a 12 stretch, yeah?
12 stretch, yeah.
12 stretch in Tom Harrison.
Big up, man.
12 stretch.
How
12 weeks.
was that?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought he'd been a Nick for 12 years.
Yeah, I'd say. Good, isn't it? I mean, holding that guy's pocket was for a while fruity.
Come on, Bubba, into the cell.
Yeah, but anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Tom Harris 12 stretch.
How
yeah.
was it?
Hard,
Was it?
dark, hard.
Yeah.
I can't give it any other word, but life-saving, changing. It's like I've learned. I know who I am.
Yeah.
I've learned who I am finally. After 40 years, I know who I am finally.
Is your bird not fuming because she married somebody else and now you knew?
Do you know, like she's had it tough because of what I've done.
Yeah.
I'm not
She's
gonna
on 10
lie.
cans of Stella and a bag of
she's
beer.
Yeah.
My turn.
My turn, yeah. Oh,
Imagine you go to the toilet, love.
Yeah.
You know.
There's so many things going through my head. Do I say that's inappropriate? But yeah, what is it? But she's come out of this. She goes to Families Anonymous.
Yeah.
So Families Anonymous is for those who are affected by addiction.
Wow.
And it's an
Yeah, fair.
amazing thing. And I only learned that from a guy whose daughter was in addiction, and he did a talk to us in Tom Harris House.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that sort of changed my life as
That's
well.
a bleak one to have to go to.
Oh,
isn't
it was heavy.
Families Anonymous. Like, you didn't even choose
Yeah.
to be there.
Mad, innit?
You had to get there because of someone.
Yeah, exactly. But you
Oh.
ruin everyone. You destroy everything around you. You destroy
Yeah.
everything with your manipulations and stuff to get what you want.
That's it. You have you have your family around you, but you also have a community of people around you, don't you? So you destroy it all.
Destroy everything.
You destroy.
Everything goes. Everything. No one trusts you. Everything goes. It's just the only one.
I think a big thing. Sorry, Rob. I think a big
Don't
thing.
apologise to me. It's me apologise.
No, but I think a big thing. What you said there is there's so many speakers, and they're so important speakers because there's like I tell my story to people and stuff like that, and if it helps one person, then it's worthwhile because you could say something of the journey you've been through or the experiences that you've been through that could say, I could go and do that and it can help me. Like what you just said there, like some fella just coming in, they have loads of speakers. They've had Tony Adams in, didn't he? They had Tony Adams, England centre back and Arsenal centre back. He come in because he went through addiction, didn't he? But something what he said there, it's to say about your family or your missus can go down and she can get support as well.
Yeah, like I said, so
important.
she's now she's so resilient now, and we know how to talk. We've learned how to communicate.
Yeah.
Basically, because of her doing that and me being through this sort of journey.
God, I wouldn't want that.
Oh, I know, yeah, it's pretty mad.
Sure,
It's pretty mad. I've been out to understand each other, but no, but it's really healthy. It's good, man. It's just set boundaries. You respect each other's boundaries. Life's beautiful, man. In some crazy way, it's groovy.
Don't you just go into the house and like, oh yeah, Rob, I understand what you're saying. And you go, oh, okay, babe, and then that's
you
it.
don't get a word in edgeways.
No.
No, yeah.
I go in the house, I talk, and then we go to bed.
With your headphones on.
Oh man, but yeah, it's good. It's
But
saved my life.
we're like taking the mick out of Rob, but we have known him for a little while now.
I'm letting you. It's my gift to you.
Oh, is it? Happy Christmas.
Yeah,
It's part of being a performer, this. No, it's no one when to let it come to
Honestly,
me.
you should have seen him on that course. Honestly, you know, we try and do our bit, and he just put in all the time, constantly shooting. You know what I mean?
Because he was
Taking over.
shite.
I blame the teacher. I blame the fucking teacher. You got to let them go. You meant to guide them, not bully them.
Come on, Mike, talk about the kettles, will you? There's trauma here.
They had enough of that in fucking bad lads. They didn't need it off you.
Giving me shit about putting curry in.
Ripping the set up, throwing it off stage.
You're talking about internet banking. You've took drugs. Come on.
But yeah, psychosis is real, man. I was these little shadow things chasing me around and all sorts of madness. I was like hearing voices and everything. Went a bit heavy, but in my head, right? This is the truth. This is mad. But I just thought I need to go further than anyone's ever been before to learn more about the universe. So I need to take more and sort of eat more and go further than anyone else.
And what were you doing apart from doing the alcohol and the drugs to go further than any other human?
I was just like fucking sat there staring at myself.
Watching YouTube?
Yeah, watching Sean Bean telling me about life and that.
Playing the kids' Minecraft.
I need to go further than any human's ever gone before.
True story. That was it. Fucking
Popeye.
Yeah, and I just see how far I can go.
Right, before we finish, last two things. First on you, Mike. Tell us the story of what happened in China.
Which one? So in
How many times did you go? I only know about one.
Oh well, I lived there for 16 months in China, and basically when I left the army the first time, I got into photography because I thought I'm going to be like David LaChapelle, all these fit models and that. And in reality, it just didn't happen. But anyway, I got into uni.
Because you were living in Wigan.
Yeah, I was in L-Town at the time. L-Town massive, innit? But you know what I mean? So, so I went to uni, did a photography degree, and then...
A whole degree?
Yeah, I got a 2-1,
wow.
Believe it or not. You know.
That's right, mate.
I don't believe it.
I'll take not, please.
and then
Carry on.
And then Bolton Uni did an exchange program in China, out in China. So I went out and did a master's in photography in China and taught English to get by and all that and travelled around. When I was out there, it was the Olympics 2008. No, when we Beijing.
18 was 08.
08,
18? What am I saying? 08, yeah.
2008.
So they were all hyper anyway, the Chinese in general, about photographers and stuff. But we were doing obviously our masters out there. So I was doing a project on desertification and environmental refugees. So basically the sand dunes in China, on the border of Afghan actually, they all moved. So the farmers are getting like sort of thrown, like moved out of their farms into the city. So I thought, I'm going to talk about this, you know, about these poor people who can't bloody farm the land anymore. And the Chinese were supposed to sort of build them an irrigation system. They weren't. So they were getting forced into the city, these farmers. And it was sad. It was really sad, to be fair. But anyway, I'm out there and I did this thing called couch surfing. So have you heard of couch surfing? You just basically write about who's got a couch anywhere in the world. You can stay on someone's couch and
it's a way to be homeless without being homeless.
Exactly, yeah.
Middle class homelessness.
For a second, I said cow surfing. So I just had a picture of you just surfing on top of a cow. Do no couch.
It's middle class homelessness.
Middle class homelessness, right? Yeah. So, so I was in this village in Xinjiang, and it's on the border of Afghanistan and China, right? So I'm there having a nice time. They give him the sheep's hat because it was like an honour in this village and stuff, and I'm like, puke up afterwards, but being polite. Anyway, so little did I know there was like, we were sort of being followed. I noticed because obviously I'm a soldier at the time. Well, I was out, but I kind of you're sharp-eyed to stuff, and I'm thinking something's not right here. And anyways, lo and behold, we got sort of me and my interpreter. He was my interpreter, but the guy I was living with, but he wanted to practice English. We got dragged into this SUV, driven under these like mad rooms, like literally, you can imagine it, like a little cave with bloody light on and stuff. And I got interrogated like badly. The guy who was with me, he started just crying. And they basically said to him, you have to stop working with him. We're going to come and kill you and your family. And it was all pretty
That's what they said to him?
To him, yeah. He told me this after. And then they said to me they thought I was an MI6 spy operating in China. And he said, do you realise where you are? I was like, well, no. He said, you're in the East Turkestan Islamic movement stronghold. And these guys, because basically the Uyghur people in China, they don't want to be Chinese. They're pretty much Middle Eastern. But they get the Chinese overpopulated him.
They're the ones that they're killing on trains and that now.
Yeah, Xinjiang. Yeah, so the Chinese said you're Chinese and that's it. And like, well, we're not Chinese. We're we're a stan. Like we're of like Turkestan and all that. And so they sent bombs into Beijing, and they thought I was there training them how to make bombs to blow up Beijing. I was like, mate. Anyway, I just said, he said,
how to make bongs, maybe, mate.
Make bombs, yeah. He said, what's your name? I said, Bond, James Bond. License to Kill. And I thought it was well funny, but he didn't like it.
You actually said that?
I just said I was called James Bond, yeah, my interrogation. Anyway, but they rang
and
up
that's when the union didn't work for MI6.
They knew then, yeah, they're like, you're not Bond, dickhead. I was like, I'm the next Bond, mate. What's up with you?
You're from fucking Wigan.
Well, who says he has to be suave, man? He's going to be northern and
Just
gobbled.
hear them all talking in their language. I'm doing Wigan.
Wool.
Wigan kebab.
Cunt.
Yeah, so that was it. Got arrested. Got arrested in Israel as well. That was fun as well.
Arrested in Israel?
Israel, yeah. I was going to Palestine to do some photographs in Palestine, refugee camp. Yeah. And the guy I was with told him the truth, and I'd already gone through. Said, I'm a Catholic. I want to see Jerusalem, you know, and all that. Yeah. Anyway, and he come in and said, we're going to Chelsea refugee camp. Next thing I get lynched at the turns at the bags.
For lying,
yeah. I just thought I was blagging again. You know what I mean? You know, once you're in.
When's your stand-up comedy routines happening?
You've done them.
Oh, have they?
Yeah,
How did it go?
It was a good night. Yeah, it was a great night.
Who won?
Dave was good.
Yeah, Dave smashed it too.
Did he? Yeah. How did you get
everyone?
It was great. Yeah.
There was six.
Will you do another gig? Do you reckon?
I'd love to do it again.
Would you?
Yeah.
I used one of Rob's jokes, and it was funny. The necrophilia, wasn't it?
Oh God.
So I'd been with these for the 12 weeks, hadn't I? So I'd sort of acclimatised, got comfortable. So I started making all the dark jokes.
Right.
So the first thing I said on stage was like, you know when I'm doing the rules, turn your phone, don't heckle the acts, don't talk amongst yourselves and turn your phones off. Because let's remember, these are all veterans. It could trigger one of the guns.
Right.
Everyone just went,
ooh. You heard all them laugh out on the course. Like 6 people laughing dead loud. And everyone in the room going, you absolute knobber. Like, what have you just done? I was like, oh, for fuck. And then...
you were trying to explain yourself. You're like,
yeah, I was like,
for 12 weeks.
I was trying to justify myself and then doing none of it. And then backstage, Mike's going around nerves. So I'm trying to talk to him. And then, like, he's going, I was like, oh, yeah. And he's like, oh, I'm scared of saying the wrong thing. I was like, oh, Mike, it happens all the time. I looked at your set and I thought something wrong. And I just, like, you shouldn't say. He went, what was it? I went, no, because you'll say it. And he was like, no. He's like, what was it? And there was a bit in his set about, like, how basically everyone cheered for him, something to do with
the cocaine habit.
Yeah. So everyone cheered his cocaine habit. His Dave sets up the cheer his cocaine habit, and he go, fucking hell, you dark bastards. Wait to hear about me necrophilia. Right. And I said, because of the situation we're in, it'd be funny if after that you went, don't say it, but it'd be funny if after you went, why the fuck do you think I joined the army?
Right. I said it.
Yeah.
But I think, so yeah, there was 6 of us that went through the entire program.
Yeah.
The youngest being me, I think. Yeah. The youngest being me. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah.
And then the oldest being 73 years of age. Yeah. All got on and done a 10-minute set. It was brilliant. It was amazing, and I think it was the perfect sort of finish, wasn't it? The perfect finish for the old 12 weeks. We had Robin, Vanessa.
So have you got another gig booked in anyway? Hot water.
I don't think I'm allowed.
Hot water.
You don't think you're allowed?
No, I don't think I'll be allowed back on stage.
What?
Oh, you're more than what? Yeah, of course you
It
could.
just depends if Hank lets me.
Yeah.
He's got to turn up.
His ADHD's
He's
Hank.
called Hank.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
He's taking you very literally.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like, Harry Potter where he takes the thing off the back of his head and there's like another head.
This is my alter ego's called Hank, the inner voice.
Right, okay.
So he just fucking comes out with crazy shit. Like sometimes I've been fucking biting my lip in here a few times.
So why do you think you're going to say something that's not nice?
To book it in with him as well if he agrees.
Right, okay.
The booking system goes on inside here.
Okay, well maybe don't do it again.
And that's that. Boom.
No, I'm joking. I'd love to. I think I'd love to. I don't know. But
I'll help you get a gig.
Refine
if you want to go and do it.
Give you a little buzz, won't it? A little bit. Oh God, fucking hell.
I'd love to go and do that. Yeah. I'd love to go and do the same set, and maybe in front of people I had no connection to, and in front of people that didn't know. So like everyone that come to that night knew it was 6 veterans on a stage. They'd been through a program, so there was context to it where. When you're getting up on a stage in hot water or whatever.
How would they get on to Beat the Fog?
How would they get on a Beat the Frog?
Would they have survived the fight?
They would have survived it. It depends on the audience for me. No, it's just because Beat the Frog is a gong show. So when we start off, you know what you get shot at? We get gongs. It's a similar thing.
It's a lot worse. It's a lot worse.
What's the worst gong you've ever felt?
You take it mentally hard.
You think you've had it bad? Wait till you listen to this.
It's like gong show is basically you go up when you first start. You got 5 minutes. The audience have free cards. And if free cards go up, you just get pulled off stage.
Wow.
You're just done, sort of thing. So, like...
So what, they have cards in their hand?
They have cards in their hand, and if they don't like you, cards up.
3 card holders.
3 cards
for
go
the
up.
audience, basically.
3 cards go up, you're done.
So like,
bloody hell.
Well, I'd have to refine it then, wouldn't I?
Well, that's what I mean. That's why Dave would be probably be all right, because you need to be fast-paced, joke, whereas you're very... he's whimsical sort of thing, likes to go off on like little tangents. Not whimsical, you know what I mean? Goes off on tangents and probably he probably is whimsical, yeah. Goes off on tangents and stuff like that, and then comes back again.
I would not have had you down as whimsy.
That's beautiful. What is it? What does it mean? Whimsical.
It's like that cloud you're over in the sky.
Google whimsical as soon as we finish.
It'll be on the empty.
Do it in the car.
Oh yeah. Fucking whimsical,
shaky bastard.
Yeah. So like with them, because sometimes they don't give you time or patience to go with you, right. So you've got to sort of have them on board before you can then go off on tangents.
So they're pretty much make me laugh or see you later.
Frog's a bit nice.
It can be a little bit like that.
There's
one called King Gong in the Comedy Store, which is literally
heavy.
Like the MC is encouraged to be nasty and be nasty to you, and encourage the audience to be nasty to you.
What? So you've got?
So is that to make you a better comic?
Oh, I want to do that though.
Not really. It's a gimmick sort of thing. I think different comics will say different stuff. Like some comics will go, no, you get nothing out of it. I felt it made me a better comic because the shame of being gonged made you go and fucking get yourself bulletproof.
Do you know, like, is it like different gongs? Is it like a dong? Or is it a ding? Is it what's the worst gong you've ever felt?
The frog's Beck, isn't it?
Or is it like ribbit?
The frog is ribbit, and then Beck. I'm a loser, baby. So why don't you kill me?
And then it's ribbit. For the frog.
And then I'm a loser, baby. Why don't you kill me?
And what's the other gong in the other gong?
It's the big.
I've not done King. Yeah, they've got a big, massive gong
like
on
a
stage.
Chinese gong. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like
I say, they want you to have 25 acts, so you need people to get gong to get through the night. Yeah. Whereas the frogs is 8, I think, or.
I think it's great because if it's going badly, it ends the misery.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I always like the gong set.
So is that pretty much like open mic then? Because 25 comics aren't getting paid.
Oh, it's all open mic, yeah.
All open mic.
Yeah. That is literally the first thing you do. It's not like we'd never do it. Well, yeah.
But you won't do a gong now?
No.
I
won't do a gig unless I'm being paid now, man.
And probably not far off a gong, to be honest. Got 6 more gigs or everything, and he's got to go back to the bottom. He's lost it.
Christmas gigs are basically a gong anyway. You wait to get someone frozen at you.
Like the prison, isn't it? You're going back to gong.
But the be all and end all of that programme was it was very, very successful.
Yeah.
The positive feedback was brilliant from people that were in the crowd, and obviously Sam Avery who runs the Comedy Trust, and the feedback from him was great. So Nikki, who works with me, she had a.
So can we go into a little bit what you do? And you go to Everton
behind enemy lines in this podcast.
Yeah.
You go to Everton, you start playing footy once a month, and go into the Navy breaks. Then what happens?
Yeah. So after being involved with Everton in the community, on the programme it was called the Inside Right programme, and I stayed involved, and then come to 2013 I get medically discharged. That's my finish date. I get medically discharged 28th of June 2013, and then I get a job with the Prince's Trust, working with young people. Support. You've been to Prince's Trust?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
I've been to Prince's Trust.
Oh yeah, you've done a gig for the Prince's Trust?
Get gone.
Trying to something else. Trying to get 5 ton for the laddies. Like, I'll have the grand, please. What's the business? Never you, man. 5 ton, you won't hear from me again.
It's
Tell you the business, a dead set.
Dragon's Den meets Jeremy Kyle in there, mate.
So I work for them for a year, supporting young kids.
Yeah. any training that or just
just went into it. Help for Heroes paid for the 12-month contract for me. So they, as the Help for Heroes, the charity, give them the money to fund me. Yeah, and then that finished after a year. In that time, I applied for a job at Everton in the community, supporting young people to get into work.
And you were still going to the Navy breaks and stuff then?
Yeah, I was as much as I could.
Yeah.
As much as I could. So that's 2014. I had my daughter in December 2014. And I got the job. The little bit before that, I got the job in the June of 2014. So I started working for Everton, putting the trackie on and all that, loved it. And then a year later, that project comes to an end.
Beat that.
Yeah. No, I got a year later. 2014 to 2015, I was supporting young people to get into work. In 2015, that we were made redundant from that job. It just didn't work out. And at the same time, the veterans program lost its funding. So it was pretty much like fate, I'd lost my job there. Yeah. The veterans program had lost its funding, so it was like it needed a new lease of life. It needed a new person in there. So I was speaking to one of the lads, and he dragged me to like the big boss and just said, "Tell him what you've just told me." It was like, "Can I have that program?" Pretty much. So there wasn't really a program there, sort of thing. There was a program there, but it just lost its funding. So it was in like a bit of a transition period into having no funding to going back into having some funding again. Yeah. So it was like, I come in then and it was like, right, what can we do? So I used the sort of the model a little bit of Inside Right, but just added to it. So we still had the football and we still run the football now. Yeah. And then I added the sort of the social. The whole 12 weeks I was waiting to get invited to this football, not fucking once.
For games.
Yeah, just I thought I hinted about 4 times, not once to get an invite. Yeah. I just wanted to go and skin a few people, just be like, just try. No, so we got to, I got to sort of that point where it was like, right, we need money to fund this program. So we'd approached different people and we ended up getting funded by the Royal British Legion. So at the time, the Royal British Legion had external grants. Yeah. That you go for. So we went to them and we got money off them for 1 year. And then
that went on the fruit machines.
Yeah, half of it. So we got that money off them. And then we got another load of funding. Yeah. And then so we had 3 years worth of funding off the Royal British Legion. So I launched the program. I launched the program in start of 2016, and then just went on from there and became. So there used to just be 1s and 2s, and now we have 30 to 40. Yeah, because when we done the taster course, there must have been 40 people there, 30, at least 40 people. Yeah. The, so that's our NAFI break that we run on a Friday morning. Yeah. So comedy for well-being. Yeah, it's like. Veterans are naturally funny. Squaddy banter is just like, the thing.
You'd be alright, it's dark. It's really dark, guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, dark for you or dark for Hank? Which one?
It just depends. But
it's just what you just read there.
Sorry,
you just read, it's really dark, guys. It's really dark.
That was Hank, was it?
You'd fit in, though. You'd fit in.
So
I don't know.
So when it was sort of like, there's these organisations. There's one, Armed Forces Covenant, and they put funds out, and it was like, but they wanted something which is a little bit more niche than what you'd normally do. It's like, what can we do? And we did about like, could we do something around comedy? And we just started looking around, and Comedy Trust. Yeah. Was there. So we wrote this funding application, and we approached the Armed Forces Covenant, and he give us the money to obviously do it. So we approached the Comedy Trust and yourself, Sam, and Vanessa, and said, right, we want to do this program. How much is it going to cost us? Let's do this program. And we've just had a conversation. Well, Nikki had a meeting with Sam the other day to hopefully do program 2 and 3. Yeah. So one of them's going to be a reduced.
Both going to be reduced.
They're both going to be reduced, but one's going to be a reduced stand-up and one's going to be a reduced sketch. Yeah. To do a stand-up and another stand-up.
Reduced?
So we did 12 weeks.
Also, what's a naffy break?
Okay, so a naffy break. So Navy, Army, right there. Navy, Army, Air Force Families Institute. So on any military base, so that's Army, RAF, Navy, including ships, there's a naffy. So the naffy is where the bar is. The naffy is where the fruit machines are. So I was always there. The naffy is where you get your bacon butties of a morning. So when you're in work of a morning, they go, right, naffy break. Yeah. You go and have a naffy break. Yeah. So you go down, you're all sitting down a naffy, everyone's chomping outside the naffy.
Tea and toast in the
That's it, yeah.
Naffy break.
Yeah. Naffy. So the naffy, so the reason I wanted to call it a naffy break, because it's been called the naffy break since the very beginning of the programme. Okay. It was for that reason, so people get hear it, boom. They've
relate
to it, that connection straight back to the military. And yeah, we try and take a lot of the military jargon away from stuff. Bloody hell, some of the stuff we've been saying there, he's like, what's that? Well,
that was one of the reasons I get you on, because like, I think sometimes that's what that can alienate people, because you'd be like, oh, I was in this regiment, and you're like, right, straight away, I don't understand, I'm not going to ask any more questions, because I don't know if I'm ignorant for not knowing what that is, so I won't ask anything else.
I just met some shit on me, like I stirred beans for 4 years and shit. That's what I just quite about. I met mad stories, and then I got promoted, and I was given a butter knife and bread, and that was amazing.
But that
like Steven Seagal, not just a chef.
No. But going back to the program, like that 12 weeks was just like, it was magical, mate. Like, and Rob said it to us at the very end, because he was like, I just come and do these, enjoy them type thing. But it sort of hit you a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Hit you a little bit more, and I think
said on the Patreon every week. Gang of melts.
We loved it. We did love it, though, honestly.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
So what's the reduced thing mean?
It just means rather than doing 12 weeks, we'll do 6 weeks.
Oh, right, okay.
So like most courses, I think that was one of the things that was dead good about it, though, because of the fact it was 12 weeks, you got to really know everyone, sort of thing. But like you just go 6 weeks. The thing with the 6 weeks is, it just becomes more intense. So where we started doing stand-up week 5, week 6, day 1, we're going to be doing like stand-up sort of thing. Like
Staunton took one of these, didn't he?
No, Staunton just jumped in for the session and give people advice on 1 week.
It was just funny, wasn't it? You just sit there and just chat shit as well, which I loved. It was just brilliant, wasn't it?
But it's mad, because it
was being a part of it, like I said, it was for yous, and we felt a part of it as well. But you could tell with all yous, it was being a part of working towards something again. That was good.
Fun. Yeah. And like even, jeez, well, hey, I've just thought of something actually. Do you know what? Recently I got a contract. It was a part-time gig, right?
Yeah.
I lasted 2 weeks. You know why?
Why?
I was too loud and jokey.
And that's your fault, Rob.
That's your fault. I lost my job, Rob, because of you.
Well, fucking one of your jobs made you kill yourself, so be thankful.
Yeah, fair one.
Yeah. Old Mike would have stayed in that job and then been back on the line. So
what was the job?
It was a project manager gig, but they just wanted robots boring people.
Right.
I mean,
anyway.
Sorry, I don't know why I said that. But aside from that, I feel a lot more confident talking to people in general. It's like a self-belief thing. It was wonderful.
Well, I think people didn't want to at start.
I'm creating an army of me. So.
No, but this is the thing. Like, that was only
want to do a podcast.
What can I
you got the specs.
That was
only gonna do one.
That was only in a small room. Yeah. It was easier in the bigger room.
Yeah.
So the only time that nobody had a stutter or they stopped or they forgot something, the only time that didn't happen was on the night.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
I must admit that I did say, I'm just going to go and stand there and drink my water and look at what I've got to say next.
But I did. You see me on the video. I've got my piece of paper there. I've got my piece of paper there, and I just go. And then while people are laughing, because everyone was obviously laughing.
I didn't agree with this, by the way.
What?
I didn't agree with this.
What was he doing?
I got overruled.
What?
Taking notes on stage.
See, I think I'd have done better without the notes there. Just
I told you this, but you wouldn't listen, would you?
I did.
Well, that's the thing. You can't ever.
Vanessa's nice. Let's listen to
it. Rehearse it. So that's why it's such a brutal thing to do. Because whether you take the notes on or not, you're never going to know the alternative.
Yeah.
So it's just like you can't. You just got to do it. That's why it's so brutal. Like if you could just go, if I could just do this and see how this would have gone, then I could do. So you just got to go in there, tank, and go. I'll try it without the notes next time, and then it won't work. I think, I'll try it with the notes, but I'll try and then you'll just
Is it busy as well? These
Well,
gong
when I do
events?
hot
Are they
water,
busy?
I won't do it.
What the gong
Are they
shows?
like full of
Oh, the
people?
Frog and Bucket one. It's students, but yeah, it gets full.
The gong show, I wouldn't tell anyone to do a gong show.
Would you? But I feel like it's like a passage of right.
It can be.
Just go and do one on the snide. It's fine.
So
But
are you
no,
more
do
respected
do some gigs first and then do a gong show.
Are you more
something.
respected on a circuit if you've done a gong show?
Oh, no one's asked.
No one gives a shit.
No
It's
one
just
gives a
stage
fuck.
time.
So it's not like,
they're
have you
thankful
done a
for
gong?
acts to turn up.
Yeah.
They're thankful for you to be there because a lot of people drop out. People can't be asked. They got jobs and that because they're not comics, are they? So they're like, oh, I can't be asked going tonight. I'll just leave it.
okay.
So, like, what is a rite of passage? Like, where do you start?
Northwest, everyone's done Beat the Frog a few times.
You've
usually.
got in the Northwest. It's like
Beat the Frog.
even though it's no one's art, it's like
It's not so much a rite of passage, like
Guaranteed stage
rite of
times, a
passage
big audience.
stand-up wise is literally just dying on your ass.
Is that like what you've got to do? You got to die.
It's just going to shit fucking gigs and dying on your ass.
yeah, and seeing it
It's
through.
not. It doesn't happen once, Mike. It
What?
happens a lot.
Was it really?
When you
Have you
first
died
start?
in your ass?
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, all of-
What
fuck
do you-
off.
what
Not
do you
like
walk off?
not so much. Not like a
He's
very.
very defensive about his dying.
Oh,
I'm
is
very
it?
open about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because you die.
He,
die.
he'll be like him 13 years after he gives up. He'll go, what the fuck? He'll be on the 10 stellars. He'll go like, all that shit was.
I see where it started here. It started on a Friday.
No, I think what was your last death?
What's-
I am open about it, but like I think what was it when I done the frog? That was what last?
No, the Bolton one.
Over a year ago now.
Bolton frog.
But you still die. Like we'll still die, us too. But
Nah,
it's just far between.
Well, what,
But when you start,
how do you die?
no one laughs at you.
Yeah, but then what do you do? How do you exit the
Well,
death?
I'm
What do you mean? How
I'm
do you
very
exit the
good,
death? You
Mike.
don't.
Well, do you just walk off?
You
and
kill
see it
yourself on
I'm
stage.
excellent, you see.
A
Have you ever
dino.
seen me? You've not seen me live, have you?
through? Oh, cool.
I've not seen
I'm
you
fucking
live.
brilliant. So I have said this a few times on the podcast. I should be massive by now.
Yes.
But through life and circumstance, I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just come watch me live and you'll be like, whoa, that's
Guy's like-
that is
That's how you get out of it. There.
But like
is,
you're saying that. All right, okay, fair.
When are you next on?
All right, I see what you're saying.
I'm not. I didn't know one booked me. But a torrid December day. I'm looking at
Just text him.
Birmingham in a nightclub at the end of the year. Living the dream, man.
Yeah. No, dying, mate. You just go on stage. It doesn't go well, basically.
When you just walk off, though, do
You're
you just
just-
walk off or do you stick it out?
You stick it out because there's some sort of thing in you that you think it might turn at any
Depends
point.
if you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you're just doing a 10 spot for no money, it's best to go early if it's going really bad. Just go because you're not getting paid. And
Yeah,
you're not
but
gonna
you
make
know
the
that
90
now
best.
as a
Yeah.
professional. As a new comic, you don't, do you?
Well, no, as a new comic, I stood up there for 13 minutes at an open mic thing and I had to do my time. It's like, no. Because I thought I was my third gig in and it was just like, oh, I've got to do the 10.
It depends on the
And it's
gig
like,
as well,
no, you
though.
don't.
Right.
If you're doing
get
an open
off.
mic gig,
Oh,
yeah, but if you're doing an open mic gig, you might as well just die for the 10 minutes. Fuck
just
it.
die out. Yeah,
No one
stick
else is
it.
asked because it's an open mic night, and the next act could come on, could be better and do all right, could be shite. No one's bothered. Open mics, like the audience know they're there for new acts, but what happens is as you get better, you get an open spot on a pro bill. So it'll be two professional comedians opening and closing, and you might be in the middle for like really reduced fee, not even expenses or nothing, and that's when you start testing yourself against a proper audience sort of thing. Who's paid
I
proper
love
money.
the hot water testing. Is it testing the water?
Yeah, the Wednesday sort of
I
thing.
love that.
Yeah, so now and again they'll throw a new act in on a Wednesday if they think they're good enough to progress, and then they'll die on their ass and they think they can get off that fucking stage.
So
now.
say if I was on your bill, would you pay me a tenner just for a tenner? Like say if
If I was a promoter,
would you pay me a tenner?
now,
Yeah.
no.
You tight bastard.
So if you said
I'll
to
give you a
us, right, we're gonna get you down on hot water. We're gonna get you down on hot water, and you wouldn't. So you know, on them Wednesdays, the comics get paid.
Only the last one closer.
The best.
Then Wednesdays are for testing out
The material.
comics or testing out new material.
The most enjoyable time I've seen one time at Hot Water was at Seal Street when Paul Smith had just blown up and everyone was turning up on the Sunday, which is the new act night, and it had a weekend vibe to it because Paul had just gone huge.
Yeah.
So everyone was... So Seal Street was bouncing on a Sunday night for £3. And there was just people who'd got about 10 gigs between the six of them.
Really?
And it was just, after Paul come off, it was just 20 minutes. It's just like, this is just
Really?
like a bear pit
First
now.
time I seen him was in the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Boss in there. It was just like in a.
Yeah.
That's where me and Simon met.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was obviously doing proper gigs, and he was there trying to be.
And now look at me, way ahead of me. Now he's dragging me back down with his podcast.
Get back to your guns, man.
Yeah. Right, come on, we need to go.
Yeah.
The memory card's going to run out more than anything else.
Right, have you got anything? Any final?
And you want to
words?
plug, Mike? Anything you'd want an audience to go to, or like?
Oh yeah, so absolutely. www.gamesterinc.
Pornhub.com.
Yeah, pornhub.com. Completed it.
Go on.
No, have you got anything that you might want an audience or crowd to go to now?
No, just like I say, we're just building Gamesterinc at the minute, so mobile application games into the metaverse.
Right, so that is definitely. I thought you were taking the piss.
No, we're doing it.
Gamester Inc.
Gamesterinc, yeah.
That is Gamester.inc or Gamester.com.
Yeah, it's like gangster, but Gamester.
Gamesterinc.com.
And we're looking for funding. And we're going to build our games.
Right.
We're going to change the world.
And Dave, anywhere?
You know, as I mentioned, that obviously you work for Everton in the community, so, you know, get
Where people learn more about that or support it? Or
so Everton
have a donation page?
evertoninthecommunity.org. .uk, which is the website, and through there you can find out about all the different programs. And if you want to donate, volunteer and stuff, it's an amazing charity that changed my life, and it's changed and saved a lot of other people's lives.
As you have saved ours, and I thank you.
Last but not least, is there any vets are watching that want to get in touch with Everton Community? Same place.
Yeah, same place through the website. There's contact forms and everything like that. So whether it's the main contact form or you go to the veterans tab within the website, and there's a contact form there as well.
Well, I've fully enjoyed myself tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having us on as well.
Thank you for protecting us.
I know it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Protecting.
I know it's a little bit different because it's a comedy podcast.
Should we stand and salute?
Just put the national anthem on it.
We're going to have no theme music at the end of this one. Just a silence.
Just a bugle.
Yeah.
Like when something bad's happened.
Sign up to the Patreon.
I'm going to put the logo down half. Right, thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.